Hello and welcome to Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. I'm Luce, your resident legally distinct fey creature, and I'm here for some magical legalese in this unusual world. Now, this game's been making the rounds a bit, but I haven't looked too much into it, mostly to avoid spoilers. But to my understanding, it is basically an Ace Attorney adjacent game taking place within a world of magic and wizards. And that very much appealed to me, since while some genuinely believe you can't really have a mystery story where magic is heavily involved with it, I felt the opposite. As long as there are clear rules and stuff established, I don't see how it couldn't. And so, of course, my hopes are that this game will deliver. Oh, let me just jump through the episodes directly. 5 cases, standard. Let's start with episode 1, since this is likely to be the tutorial and all that. The fields of battle are filled with suffering and despair. On them a clash of souls. Souls brought to conflict by the corrupt powers that rule over them. I was transporting a client in my carriage that evening. We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. Riss Rudolph. I was worried that something was amiss, so I walked to the building to see what the commotion was. There I saw the defendant. She was lit by the blue glow of the dining room lights, and she was stabbing the victim with her magical sword.
Objection!
We're starting in media res. Mr. Rudolph, you testified that you saw my client into murdering the victim, and you supposedly saw her casting magic while do so? Yes, I could never cast such a grisly sight. That moment will forever be burned to my memory. I see. Well, in that case, it's funny that you say that. Oh, so? Because her entire testimony was a complete lie. What?
Objection!
I see our Arya Steelwind, so that's gonna be our prosecutor rival, eh? Are you accusing the witness of perjury? Surely you know that such accusations cannot be made lightly, Mr. Cuthbert. My accusation is far from baseless, Steelwind. Think about the state of the crime scene at the time of the murder. The witness couldn't have seen anything, much less a homicide. He knows something. But on this battlefield, there are still a few people who carry the ideals of justice within their hearts. Ooh, this is gonna be like Athena's emotion power. We have to wonder, are these ideals truly just, or are they simply lies fed to us by the elders? Damn it. Linhart, you fool, why could you just listen to me? Oh, dang, that guy got stabbed pretty badly. Rudolph, I require assistance. Yes, sir? By the scared lord, what did you... You killed him! I let the town guard tell if he saw his daughter fleeing the scene. I'm sure their neighbors heard them arguing with each other, they'll immediately suspect her. At once, sir. Episode 1. The Cold-Hearted Aristocrat. Earlier that day. You feel yourself slowly succumbing to unbearable pain. You don't think you'll be able to survive much longer. Ruby Timora. Are you sure you're okay, Cuthbert? You look like you're about to pass out. Occupation? Attorney. Ruby Timora. Don't worry about me, Miss Timora. I'm fine. You've been riding this carriage for days. You're definitely not fine. With each bump on the road, you feel yourself becoming more and more nauseous. It's taking every ounce of willpower just to hold down your lunch. I'm perfectly fine. Oh, interesting. There's an arcane art nun. That's obviously gonna matter, I think. Eventually, I think. If you say so. You feel the carriage drive over a large bump on the road. You can feel and hear your stomach relenting in protest. That stew you ate for lunch doesn't taste nearly as good a second time. Oh no. On second thought. That's better. You take a deep breath of fresh air. Yeah, if you start to feel car sickness, it's important you get out immediately. I used to have a bit of a problem with it, but now that I'm pretty much the one driving everywhere, or, a, or it's not too big of an issue anymore, at least. Like, even when I visit my family, I'm usually the one driving, so I'm usually in good shape. It's the first breath you've taken today that hasn't threatened to come back out. I'm sorry about this. I didn't expect the roads in this town to be so uneven. I guess they don't get a lot of traffic here. You've been on the road with your mentor a few days. Together, you've been searching for a man named Flintheart McCoy. Supposedly, there's been a voice of dissonance against King Oliver over the last few decades. You have no idea what kind of business that Miss Tamora would have with him, but you know better than ask questions about her affairs. With all the tropes that revolve around mentors, just about anything could be the case here, so I guess we have to prepare for anything. Hello, travelers. Welcome to Cornhaven. A local merchant steps out from one of the nearby shops. He has a wide smile on his face and approaches her carriage with the enthusiasm of a starving vulture. Would a pair of dignified individuals yourselves care for a refreshing drink? Those clothes. They must be from the city. He certainly has a friendly expression, but his thoughts seem very analytical. Ah, I see. So that's what I see. So he's able to read their mind and emotions? Hmm. Many have said the power to read minds is extremely powerful, but I think the power or to simply read emotions is very underrated. You see, people can hide their conscious thoughts, but their emotions, their subconscious, that is significantly harder to hide. Well, I don't need a drink, but she glanced at you, her stomach grumbles agreement. Of course, I have just the thing for an upset stomach. The carriage like that, I bet I could fleece them for a lot. Ah, his thoughts and emotions are laid bare through the eye of Horus. Well, if we can read both thoughts and emotions, that will certainly make life a lot easier, won't it? But the merchant's expression don't betray a hint of what he's truly thinking. You wonder if his false smile could get any bigger. At this rate, he might dislocate his jaw. But 2 flasks of apple juice for 50 silver pieces? 50 SP? You may find the price daunting, but it's organic and freshly made. Well, it's just 4-bought juice, but I bet they can't even tell the difference. At the corner of your eye, you spot an empty bottle of store-bought apple juice. It's resting on the table in the merchant's shop. It's been added to your notes. Note, Tyrion will make mental notes of clues he sees throughout the world. These notes are instrumental to solving mysteries and progressing. You can check these at any point at the top left side of the screen. Trust me, it's worth the extra gold. Normally the price wouldn't matter that much to you, but you don't appreciate being treated like an easy mark. Ooh, argument. You start an argument. During it, your opponent will make claims you need to respond. Responding correctly lowers the enemy's confidence. Responding incorrectly lowers yours, and once you run out, you lose the argument. That could be a game over, it could require that I restart the minigame, or it could that I just move on with having lost the argument, depending on how the game goes. I genuinely don't know which it does. Even Ace Attorney itself has changed regularly on how out of how the minigames, the stuff that you do outside of the courtroom works, so I guess we'll have to see for ourselves, won't we? I think you need to elaborate. You said this apple juice is organic, but where is it made? Produced by the hardworking people of this town, of course. Full town like ours, we only deal with locally sourced products. The claims present evidence. Store-bought. It's resting on the table. It's suspiciously empty. You say that, but I can see an empty bottle of store-bought juice inside your shop. Why would you have something like that if you only deal with organic products? How did that get there? Well, make no mistake, I only bought that because I want to see how my products compare to the city. Let me tell you, mass-produced slop doesn't even compare to my product. What an obvious lie. This juice is worth far more than offering. Honestly, I'm offering you a very good deal. Interpreting during arguments. For certain claims, you need to look at the opponent's thoughts and emotions, choose the correct response depending on information. Logic. Choose this if your thoughts contradict something in your notes. Intuition. Choose this option if your thought contradicts your opponent's thoughts, contradicts their claim. Empathy. Choose this option if the emotions contradict their claim. I usually only sell this stuff for 5 SP a flask. Use this against it. Those are worth far more. Intuition. Use this against ones that claims that contradict thoughts. Contradict evidence. Contradicted emotion. Huh. He's not feeling any emotion. Interesting. Sir, it's obvious those flasks are only worth 5 SP. Wait, how did you... Well, it's clear you're a very shrewd man. Argument 1. So thirsty. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot a child watching you. His eyes are fixed on the flasks. How about 23 for 3 flasks? Of course, sir. The Kingdom of Wavengard, established around 2,000 years ago by the 7 High Archmages. The kingdom is currently ruled by King Oliver de Wavengard and the mages of his nobility. The nobility will tell you that our marvelous kingdom is a land of prosperity and happiness. A land where people share the wealth and succor provided by the kingdom's magic. Thank you, I haven't had anything like this in years. The child's passing thoughts tell you exactly how much succor this kingdom is actually sharing. I didn't know you had such an eye for rural economics. Well, I suppose I just have good intuition for this sort of thing. Ah, interesting. So, first of all, we do notice this character has a special power, but even his mentor is not aware of it. How very interesting. Or did you use another kind of eye? Oh, she does know about it. Now, don't get me wrong, your so-called Eye of Horus is an amazing gift. You should take every opportunity to hone it, but try to be more subtle next time. If I can see through you, others will be able to as well. Yeah, that's definitely a card you want to keep in your back pocket, so to speak. Right. Anyways, I did some asking around while you were, haggling. Supposedly, the McCoy Tavern should be north around here. If my tip is correct, this should be the place. Wait, this is the McCoy Tavern? In this state it's in, calling it a tavern's pretty generous. I find it hard to believe that this secret meeting is a secret meeting place for dissidents. But now that you think about it, maybe that's the entire point. This tavern's been shut down for years. Nowadays, Flintheart just uses it to host his rallies. Although I do wonder how they've been keeping themselves afloat for this long. Hey, get lost. The McCoy Tavern's closed. A gruff man approaches your carriage to step out of it. He's eyeing you and Miss Tamora, a clear look of contempt on his face. I take it you're Flintheart McCoy? I am one of it. Occupation? Unemployed. Well, I guess it did literally just say his tavern's been closed down, so... Sorry for not writing ahead of time. I'm Ruby Tamora. I want to speak with you. Ruby Tamora. Wait, you're the Ruby Tamora? Any animosity he initially had immediately vanishes. He lets out a laugh. It's as if you were meeting an old friend. Why didn't you say so? Come in. You didn't expect someone like him to know about Miss Tamora, but you suppose it makes sense. They both are fighting the same enemy after all, albeit in very different ways. Sorry about the mess. We haven't exactly been, Well, anyways, what brings you here? I take you didn't journey all this way just to see my wreck tavern. I'm here on behalf of a client. We have a proposition you may be interested in. Is there anywhere we can talk more privately? Sure. The kitchen's empty. Also, that painting in the back looks like someone casting a spell of some sort. Oh, wonderful. Tyrion, stay here while I stay with McCoy. Wait, you don't need my help? Oh, there's no need for that. Like hell, there's no need for that. I'm just trying to make a deal. You can easily read his thoughts to help her. This player won't object, but she shoots you a stern look that causes you to freeze up. You slowly look away from her. It's possible she has an eye power of her own that we don't know about. Or perhaps our character knows and we ourselves do not. Oh, and hey, that guy's standing in front of a painting as well. You spent some time waiting alone in the tavern's dining area. It's already been hours since the two went to talk in the kitchen. You hear faint murmurs from behind the closed door, and you've been resisting the urge to eavesdrop. But even from here, you can tell the conversation's slowly becoming more frustrated. Looks like they're gonna be a while. Well, it's a good thing you always bring a chess set around. You bring out a small chessboard you've carried around since you were a child. Chess can be played with one person. You've always taken advantage of that. Well, checkmate. You win against yourself, this time as black. I played 10 games already and won 7 out of 10 games as black. Huh. I guess he must have a lot of experience playing a more reactive playstyle. I won't bore with the details, but long story short, there is generally a thought that white in chess has a slight advantage due to going first. I believe they call it the initiative, which makes sense. If you go first, you effectively control the state of the board, but Well, there are entire books on how to play as when starting as black, so there's definitely reactive play styles if you happen to prefer that. Hello. Statistically, why it's more likely to win. Oh, yeah, exactly what I was about to say. Unbeknownst to you, you're thinking out loud. So I'm performing so much better when playing as black. Ah, so I guess this is a hint that our protagonist is a bit better as a reactive strategies than going on the offensive. Hello? No, sir, and you're verbalizing your thoughts as fast as you're thinking them. Am I becoming overconfident is why because move advantage? Or perhaps that's very advantage is affecting my choices, making me play in a suboptimal manner. A personal quirk making me play illogically, I need to correct it. Hey! What? How long have you been standing there? Hey, it's about time you noticed me. I've been trying to get your attention now. Sorry. Do you know where my dad is? Your dad? Flintard McCoy, I'm his daughter, Celeste. Occupation? Mercenary. Oh, Flinthart is speaking with my mentor right now. I want to show him something. You know when they'll be done? I don't know, they've been speaking in the kitchen for a while now. You hear Flinthart and Tamura's voices getting louder, more frustrated, but Celeste doesn't seem to notice. Her eyes are more focused on her chessboard. Oh, this is chess, right? Are you playing against someone? Oh, I was just playing against myself, actually. Oh, that's, You feel a judgmental stare. Yeah, I can kind of get an idea what she's saying without her actually saying it. Playing alone helps me develop new strategies. Plenty of professionals do it. Hey, I'm not the type of shame man for playing with himself. You did that on purpose, didn't you? You specifically worded it that way for a reason. That's... Oh, it says she has an arcane art now. Transmutation. Relax, I'm just joking. Anyways, if you're still waiting for your mentor, why don't you play a game? Oh, do you know how to play? Sure, I read about this before. She's read about it. This table's so dusty. She takes a seat on the other side. She tries to set up her side of the board and fumbles the pieces. She stares at one of them confused. I arrange these things again? Part of you regrets accepting this challenge, but impolite to back out now. Here, I'll arrange them for you. Oh, thanks. And checkmate, you defeat her in 2 moves. Wait, already? How'd you do that? You decide against telling her what the name of that maid is. Hey, reader asked me, I want to do over. Sure, why not? There are a few checkmates that can be done within a few turns, but I'm pretty sure our protagonist only did that because he knew she was too inexperienced enough to fall for it. It's pretty common, and I think even I might have fallen for it at one point, but I'm pretty sure anyone trying it nowadays, I'd be able to block it. And that's a problem, since if you try that and the opponent sees it, you're now in a very, very suboptimal place. Not as if you have anything better to do. Celeste's brow furrows as she decides on her next move, but she hasn't realized the game's already finished. Here. She moves the knight position to attack queen. It should have stopped your assault on our king, but checkmate. A scholar's mate this time. Oh, come on. How can we keep doing that? Look at the closed door of the kitchen. The discussions are becoming louder. It doesn't sound like they'll be done anytime soon. I'll definitely beat you this time. For someone who's clearly never played before, she's quickly improving each game. It's impressive. She's observing your strategies and adapting them to her playstyle. Yeah, sometimes the best way to improve is to simply play. Now granted, you do need to properly analyze and stuff, or you'll just repeat the same stuff over and over. I used to play MOBAs a good bit, and that was actually kind of an issue. If you just practice without actually trying to figure out why something does or doesn't work, you can actually end up stagnating. But that's once you realize how that works, it's actually pretty easy to continue regular improvement. But the way she's playing now, she could even defeat a nationally ranked noble. Checkmate. But even so, you've been playing the game for a lot longer than she has. Hey, how are you always one step ahead of me? It's like you're reading my mind. As if you'd even need to. Just want my game, I'll get you this time. The fact the Eye of Horus hasn't shown up any words on screen implies to me that, yeah, our character has manual control over this power, and is simply choosing not to do it here. Hello, Cuthbert. Miss Timura emerges from the kitchen. They both look mentally exhausted. The negotiations apparently did not go well. Hey, Dad. Oh, hello, sweetie. He looks irritated, but as soon as he sees Celeste, he quickly hides a smile. Wonder what their discussion was about. Oh, what's this, some kind of game? She glances at the pieces on the board. Don't feel too bad about losing to him. He's nationally ranked. Oh, you're a professional. Is that why you're wearing a suit? Nah, chess is just a hobby. I'm actually a defense attorney. An attorney? Speaking of which, we should probably be on our way. Sorry for refusing you after you came after this way. I respect what you're doing, I really do. But I don't want anything to do with your mage friends. I wonder what he meant by that. Was he trying to introduce him to one of our clients? I guess they are working towards the same goal, after all. Anyways, it is getting late. If you leave now, you won't get back to the city till morning. She's right. This region's littered with brigands and bandits. What's a brigade? Like a frigate, or whatever that type of ship is called. You wouldn't want to run to them so late. I guess you do have a point. We have plenty of empty rooms you can stay until the morning. At least I could do after you came after all this way. Well, if it's not too much trouble, we might as well stay here till tomorrow. Tavern shut down, but we still have sheets and blankets. I'll go get the rooms ready. Probably make her sound a lot younger than she really is. In fact, I'm pretty sure she's about our protagonist's age, if I had to guess. Celeste and Flintheart leave the dining area to get your rooms ready. You're left in the dining room with Miss Timura. So I take it negotiations didn't go well? No, I didn't expect him to be so stubborn. Honestly, I have no idea what that man has against mages. Well, there is one way to find out. Why are you being so secretive anyways? If your business is related to our clients, I can't help. It wasn't important. Your presence was not necessary. That's such an obvious lie, but you can't read a single thought from her mind. She's had years of practice hiding her thoughts from the Eye of Horus. Okay, so this is actually very important to learn, that it's possible to block the Eye of Horus in some fashion. And as I said, it's very different. Well, it's probably not that she's simply consciously hiding her mind, so she's probably blocking whatever the Eye of Horus is actually doing. So she's blocking the spell, so to speak, rather than specifically hiding her emotions or thoughts. A small but crucial difference. She just enthusiastically comes downstairs, but she seems to have noticed the tension. Sorry to interrupt, your rooms are ready. Right, thank you. An awkward silence hangs in the air as you and Miss Timura head upstairs. You reach up her hallway and see 2 rooms that Celeste has prepared for you. She stops before entering her room. You were playing chess with Flintheart's daughter. Was she any good? Not at first, but she got quite a bit better as we kept playing. Sorry for leaving you there so long. I didn't expect our discussion to last that long. No, it's fine. Despite everything, I enjoyed playing against her. I see. Well, I suppose you are at that age. Hey, it's not like that. It's just that outside of tournaments, I never get to play against another player. And you only ever want to play shogi against me. Because shogi is clearly superior. Well, we're entitled to our opinions even when they're wrong. It's complete anarchy, that's what it is. Yeah, I'm with Tyrion on this one. You just bring fallen pieces back to life like some kind of necromancer. It adds depth. Dropping adds a dimension of play that isn't present in chess. You sternly look at each other, your position's already made. After a few moments of silence, you both burst out laughing. I'm sorry it looks like I don't trust you. I know you really are just trying to help. There's some things in my work I can't just tell you yet. One day, I'll tell you everything. Right, sorry for prying. Please don't tell me that's a massive death flag. Although I suppose, well, like I said, there's a lot of tropes when it comes to mentors, so it could mean absolutely anything. Oh, right, I want to show you I'm ready to be an attorney. You are, I know you are. The rare praise from your mentor catches you off guard. Ah, so she's a very stern type of mentor. Anyways, get some rest. You should mentally prepare yourself for the journey tomorrow. You completely forgot about the carrot dried back. You can already feel your stomach churning in process. Yeah, our character got sick from the carrot ride, so that's going to be pretty nasty. You lay in the bed the McCoy is prepared for you. As you close your eyes, you slowly drift into a deep slumber. As happens, you feel something invasive. Your mind drifts away, and you feel yourself being pulled elsewhere. You find yourself in a surreal, unsettling landscape. Interesting, are we dreaming, or are we pulled into another plane, or... Really certain you're dreaming right now, but some instinct in the back of your mind tells you that something is fundamentally wrong about all this. You see a woman in the far distance, staring directly at you. What presence? She's murmuring something, but you can't quite make it out. Is she trying to say something to you? Finally, found. I finally found you, Heavensborn. You're jolted wide awake. And with good reason. She gave the yandere face, or whatever the, the... I'm pretty sure that expression was not used lightly, so... does not bode well. Can't exactly remember what the woman said to you, but her words were... whatever her words were, they sent a piercing chill down her spine. I think it might have been less the words and more her expression. Actually, maybe it's not yandere, but say, I'm not sure what that term is. Darn, I always draw a blank, and just you watch. I'm gonna remember it like an hour after the stream act proper ends, which isn't gonna be for a few hours now, but yeah. Your breath is heavy, your heart's beating at 100 miles an hour. Alright, calm down, it was just a dream. At least that's what you try to tell yourself. Please let me explain. I don't want to hear it. Hear the voices of Celeste and Flintheart to ring from downstairs. It must be extremely late. What could they possibly be arguing about at this hour? I want you out of my house. Out! The dead silence lingers in the air before you hear someone rush out of the tavern. Whoever slams the door behind them. Sheesh, what was that all about? It's none of your business. You only met those two today. Yeah, trying to stick your nose into something you only barely caught the end of is just going to cause problems for everyone involved. And that includes yourself and the person you're trying to help, so... you need to pick your battles, is what I'm getting at, and this isn't one of those. It'd probably be best not to get involved in the affair. As you tell yourself that, a brief image of Celeste's smile appears in your mind. Ah, damn it. You slowly make your way out of your room, but the hallway's near pitch black. You can barely see a few inches ahead. You have to watch your step to avoid tripping. You run to Flintheart, slowly walk up the stairs. Even this close, it's hard to see his expression in the darkness. Sorry, I hurt. Oh, right, I forgot you two were... His words trail off. Is everything alright? He's both sad and scared, I guess. That can mean a lot of things. Sorry, I'm just gonna awkwardly shimmy past him to head down the stairs. He doesn't move out of your way. It's clear his mind's elsewhere right now. You're over the dining room, but you don't see Celeste anywhere. Honestly, it's hard to tell how dark the room is. Celeste, you still here? You don't receive an answer. You remember you heard someone slam the front door. Your eyes are drawn to the entrance. Celeste? No answer. Celeste, where are you? The merchant you spoke with before steps out of his shop holding a lantern. He appears to be irritated at the noise you've been making. Oh, you're like given before. You have any idea what time it is? This is in the city. You can't make a bunch of noise like this. Right, sorry. I was looking for, Celeste? Who? McCoy. She's Flintheart's daughter? Lawrence's expression becomes a little colder. You know them? What do you want with that bastard? That damn mage. Wait. Chu probably woke up half the street with all their yelling. I don't need you to keep us too. If I hear any more noise, I'm gonna call the town guard. Or you can get a word in. The merchant walks back to his home in a huff. You look around, but you don't see any sign of her. You decide to continue searching. I can't believe I said those things to her. She'll never forgive me for this. I see your temper as short as ever, Flintheart. You. Honestly, how do you live in this darkness? Look so. What are you doing here? And how dare you bring that witchcraft to my home? Seems magic is somewhat controversial in this universe. You've been busy lately. Your little rallies have gained quite a lot of support. Too much support for my family's liking. And what, you came all this way to convince me to stop? You have my word, if you stop spreading dissidence, no harm will come to you or your family. Ha! Your word is as good as the dirt you lick off King Oliver's boots. As if I'd ever trust the words of a murderer like you. Flintheart, please, as someone who once called a friend, I'm only asking you one time. Friend? Friend? I'll be down on the ground if I ever call the likes of you a friend. Get out of my house. I don't have time for nonsense. Unfortunately, I don't think he'll have much time for anything. Gah. Damn it, Flintheart, you fool. Why couldn't you just listen to me? Ah, this is the scene. Rudolph, I require assistance. Yes, sir. The Scaled Lord? What did you... You killed him. Hello, the town guard. Tell him you saw his daughter fleeing the scene. I'm sure the neighbors heard them arguing. They'll immediately suspect her. At once, sir. You've been searching for Celeste a while. How long have you been outside? 2 hours, 3? How long has it been? It's clearly taken a toll on you. Ah, but the good news is we know she's out here, so she has an alibi. Where is she? What am I gonna do now? I guess we can react to ourselves. Hear a faint voice. Could it be? Ah. Oh, as you appear behind the old tree, you finally found her. She looks just as tired as you are, possibly more so. Her eyes are puffy and red. She's doing her best to hide with a smile. I've been looking all over for you. Oh, sorry. Guess we woke you up? Yeah, is everything alright? It's nothing, it was just an argument. Something's got her concerned. By the way she reacted, this is clearly not common. You suppose it's none of your business and decide not to pry further. Have you been looking for me this entire time? I have. Thank you, but I'm okay now. You should head back. What about you? I'm gonna stay out a little longer. No, you should mind your own business, but I'm sure whatever happened between you is nothing you can't talk out. Doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes Miss Tamora and I get into fights too, but no matter what happens, we're always able to talk through it. Sorry, I know it's none of my business, but no, I do appreciate it, thank you. Wow, she's got quite a few emotions going on right now. You're right, let's go back. You arrive back at the McCoy Tavern, but it's now surrounded by carriages and knights clad in armor. Is that the Inquisition? Damn it, we should have suspected this from the start. The Arcane Inquisition, they're an order of knights that investigate crimes committed using magic. As you say the word crimes, you and Celeste share a glance and come to the same realization. Both rush toward the cavern, but she outpaces you by a large margin. What? No, no. She reaches the tavern before you, and before anyone can stop her, she looks inside the inn. Whatever she saw makes her crown anguish. She drops to the ground in tears. There she is. Celeste McCoy, by the order of authority, the Wyvern guard crown and placing her under arrest. Upon seeing Celeste, one of the knights steps forward and grabs her. Surprisingly, she's able to break free and tries to push further. Noticing the commotion, 3 other knights grab her and begin dragging her away. She kicks and screams, desperately breaking free. Even between 3 knights, it's taking all their strength to subdue her. Hey, wait, what are you doing here? What's going on here? Tyrion! Miss Tamora approaches you. You breathe a small sigh of relief when you see that she's okay. Miss Tamora. Ah, I should have known she was one of yours. Just out of our way. Miss Tamora, what's going on? Why is the Inquisition here? I'm surprised myself, but from what I understand, Flintheart McCoy has been murdered. Murdered? Ah, good checkpoints. You follow the Inquisition back to the city where Celeste is detained. According to Miss Tamora, Celeste was the prime suspect, and due to the supposed nature of the crime, the case would be pushed to trial immediately. But many elements of the situation don't make sense. The Inquisition only investigates crimes committed using magic, so why is Celeste their prime suspect? Could she be a mage, then? This is ridiculous. She has the right to speak to an attorney. Anyways, you find herself met with another hurdle, a very frustrating one. Yeah, we can't let you see her until she's been processed. Her trial's in an hour. How has she not been processed yet? I don't know what to tell you, kid. I wish I could help. You don't need to use the eye to know that's a complete lie. So, you really plan on defending her? Do you know she can even afford a lawyer? Well, I can't stay here and do nothing. That's right, she has kind of a clear alibi, and that was that she was with us all night. You saw them, didn't you? There's no way she would murder her father like that. I know that look. I was saving this for a special occasion, but... Attorney's Runestone. A magical runestone that allows you to take pictures of crime scenes and write notes telepathically. Every attorney has one. It's almost like a badge to them. Now that is very clever. I like it. Hey, this is an attorney's runestone? You're going to defend her. You're going to need one. You begin to tear up. You've wanted one of these ever since you were a child. It's basically a badge of honor for attorneys. Oh, don't cry, Cuthbert. Sorry. Anyways, keep one thing in mind. If you try to defend her, the Inquisition is not going to fight you fairly. Our court system only exists to create the illusion of justice. They hate people like us, and they'll do everything in their power to sabotage you. Damn, you knew they'd try to get in your way, but you didn't expect them to do this blatantly. Now, what is this noise? Oh, you're the knight from the tavern. That's Commander Orium White to you, kid. Orium White. Occupation, knight. I had a feeling tomorrow would be sniff around this case. I didn't expect her to send a kid to do her dirty work. Commander says he wants to talk to the mage. And she has a right to an attorney, doesn't she? Well, she hasn't been processed. Commander White looks confused. What kind of bullshit are you trying to pull? Let him through, you idiot! Sure. I'm glad someone here has a good head on their shoulders. The knight leads you through the halls of the dungeon. For something built in the capital, it looks old and decrepit. The prisoners are all feeling, well, sad, angry, and, yeah, that's a lot of emotions. And of course, none are happy for rather obvious reasons. Pick up the negative emotions the prisoners are by. It's heavy and almost crushing. You've always had to avoid crowded places because of how sensitive you are to people's thoughts. So while you don't actively have to use it, you do pick them up passively. Alright, so we do have to be very careful. You never felt such this much concentrated despair before. Oh, it's you! She's lying on the cold floor of one of the dungeon cells, but she immediately gets up as soon as she sees you. What are you doing here? Miss Tamora told me about what happened to your father. I'm so sorry. I just don't understand. I don't understand any of this. Why would someone do this? And why are they blaming me for it? I'm not sure about the details, but it's clear there were elements of magic involved with what happened. Since they arrested you based on the evidence, I can only conclude one thing. Celeste, you're a mage, aren't you? She's, oh yeah, either surprised or scared. There's no sense in hiding anymore. Yes, I am. Do you have noble blood? Of course not. Why would you say that? She's angry. Sorry, but the ability to use magic is hereditary. Most mages have some kind of noble blood. I honestly don't like thinking about that. I'm the daughter of Jolene and Flintheart McCoy. That's all I needed to know about myself. It'd probably be best not to push the matter further. Anyways, you're probably arrested because you're a mage. What? It's a crime committed using magic and you're the only mage around at the time. Is that seriously the only reason? I only know how to cast one spell. The Arcane Inquisition doesn't really care about the truth, they just care about closing cases. Celeste, your case is being pushed to trial. You're gonna be brought before a judge within 1 hour. What? Nobody told me any of that! Wow, they weren't even planning on telling her? If you'll have me, I'd like to be your defense counsel for the trial. Right, I forgot you were- Oh yeah, her age is listed here. So yeah, her and Tyrion are indeed roughly the same age. Did you really do that for me? After everything I've seen them do, I can't just sit by and do nothing. Oh, but they're part of the kingdom. Do we even have a chance? It's hopeless. Celeste, man, king, or god, I won't let them do anything to you. What? Sorry, it's just something I have a habit of saying. No, don't apologize. She's happy about it, but damn is it cheesy. I appreciate you doing this. It's clear this entire situation is rather bittersweet for her, and because of the Inquisition's delays, you haven't had any time to investigate the crime scene. You're confident before, begin to doubt whether or not you can really do this. Everything's happening so fast, it just feels unreal. No, you have to do this. This is exactly the reason why I became a lawyer. No matter what happens, you will acquit Celeste. I'm in a courtroom, a real courtroom. Actually, entering the courtroom has taken a lot of wind out of your sails. You've never been here as an attorney before. You've only ever really acted as Miss Tamora's assistant. And Ari is the prosecutor. The woman in the prosecutor's bench is staring at you. Miss Tamora has mentioned her before you went to Celeste. What was her name again? You think it was Arya Steelwind. Occupation, prosecutor. You can feel the coldness of her glare burrowing into you. Why is she staring you down? Is she trying to intimidate you? Because it's working! Court is now in session for the trial of Celeste McCoy. Prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is also ready, Your Honor. It doesn't necessarily sound very ready. Regardless, let us begin the proceedings. Prosecutor Steelwind, please list the charges. The defendant is Celeste McCoy, a mercenary for hire and registered mage. I actually really like that, the way that she has, rather than opening up a parchment, she has the text magically show up. That's a really neat effect. Wait, did she just say mercenary? Yeah, I had to take up a job after my family's tavern was shut down. Oh, right. It's not exactly the first occupation you choose. She's charged with second-degree murder and negligent misuse of the arcane arts. I see, so there was magic involved. Yes, the crime occurred within the McCoy Tavern, a local inn that shut down years ago. Locals reported hearing a loud commotion coming from within the building. Hours later, a carriage driver was nearby checked the disturbance. As though he found the victim, the defendant's sword still impaling his dead body. The Inquisition's provided an autopsy report and record of the sword. Autopsy report. Flintheart McCoy and Celeste's sword has been added to your notes. I see. What is the defendant's relationship with the victim? It seems they share the same last name. The defendant is the victim's daughter, though not by blood. She was adopted in the family when she was an infant. Her birth parents are currently unknown. Yeah, I guess I should have figured something like that was going to be the case. So, while she doesn't care about anything except who the parents who actually raised her are, I imagine if she has a power source like that, her lineage is going to be important, even if they're long dead. Her actual family's long dead. Well, the biological would be one, since, well, one could reasonably argue her adopted family is her true family. I see, what an unfortunate turn of events. To begin with, the prosecution would like to call Commander Orem White to the stand. Witness, please date your name and occupation for the court. My name is Orem White. I'm commander of the Arcane Inquisition. Orem, could you please testify the details of the Inquisition's investigation? Yeah. X-log. Evidence here. After being stabbed from behind by a magical blade, fatal wound shows heavy traces of transmutation magic. Alleged murder weapon, an ornately designed sword, but has no magical properties in and of itself. Spells. Ah, she has evocation as her arcane art. The fact I have none listed rather than Eye of Horus suggests the Eye of Horus may be something special, and not standard magic. Or arcane art could be it. No, it can't just be a specialty, because again, ours isn't listed. The witness testimony. We got a call late at night. Someone discovered a dead body inside the McCoy Tavern. We arrived at the scene, and we found Flintheart McCoy dead on the floor. The defense sword was still inside of him. There were several witnesses who heard the victim and defendant allowed argument before the body was discovered. The argument must have turned ugly, because the defendant killed the victim using her magic sword. Isn't that really incriminating? One of our possessions is the murder weapon. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. You open your mouth to respond, but nothing comes out. You can't think of anything. Everything's blank. Mr. Cuthbert? Hey, what are you doing? This is the part where you say something, right? Sorry, I don't. Your anxiety's getting worse, and your breaths are becoming more and more desperate. Are you hyperventilating? Ah, what a disappointment. I was hoping to fight against the infamous Ruby Tamora today. It's clear you can't hold a candle to her. Your Honor, it's clear defense has nothing to say against the prosecutor's overwhelming evidence. Yes, this case is rather open and shut. No, wait, this isn't supposed to happen. Sorry, Tyrion, I couldn't acquit Frey. She was found guilty. Wait, but that means that they're gonna execute her? Not again. Are you seriously gonna let that happen again? Tyrion! Celeste grabs your shoulders and shakes you out of your panic. You need to calm down. Her gaze is calm and focused despite the gravity of the situation, but she looks stern, not angry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this to... Stop, just listen to me. You know what to do, right? Just do it the same way you do what you do playing chess. I don't know, you're so calm and focused when you were playing before. No matter how close I got to beating you, you always knew how to stay calm and win. So just channel that feeling, look at the pieces. That doesn't make any sense, and yet... Take a moment to focus and let everything else disappear from the world. Every statement made, every word that came out of the mouth, each of those is a possible weakness you can attack. Every bleak moment can be turned around. And just need to consider every angle. My apologies for the delay, Your Honor. The defense is ready to begin the process of examining the witness. Alright, very well. There we go. Thank God that worked. Carefully examine the statements and look for anything that contradicts notes. Once you do that, present the conflicting evidence to prove the testimony is false. Obviously, I usually want to press everything. Well, unless this game... you're cross-examining, carefully examine. Find something that contradicts a clue, a spell, or profile. I don't know if spell is the information about spells we've learned or an actual spell we can actually cast. I guess we'll be finding out soon enough, I suppose. But given this nature of this game, the nature of this game, it could absolutely be both. Or profile. Once you identify a false statement. Okay, also, it says... check something that contradicts a clue, spell, or a profile. And this is very important, because it means... because not all Ace Attorney games let you present profiles for information, but this game does, so I'll need to keep that in mind. Call late at night. Someone discovered a dead body inside the McCoy Cavern. What time exactly did you get this call? Do you know who discovered the body? The call came in at 1:25 a.m. As for the witness who discovered it, he wanted to remain incognito. Well, it's not unusual for a witness to stay anonymous. That is well within their rights. This would be a lot easier if we could question the witness directly, though. What happened when you arrived, Commander? Arrived at the scene, we found Flint McCoy dead on the floor. The defendant's sword was still inside of him. And how'd you know the sword was my client's? The sword is made out of a very special alloy. It was forged out, I think it was forged out of the country or something. It'd be hard to mistake something like that. We also have several eyewitnesses who verify the sword belonged to the defendant. She made no effort to hide it from the public. Quite the contrary, she was quite proud to show it off. But even if the sword belongs to the client, that doesn't necessarily mean she was the one who stabbed him. Oh yes, well... We saw witnesses who heard the victim defend a loud argument before the body was discovered. And how did they know it was my victim and the client that was arguing? Well, you were there, weren't you? Couldn't have had to have heard them too. Every witness talked you knew it was them. Huh. Your Honor, it's clear the defense is playing devil's advocate here. We could have potentially brought up that there was other loud arguments earlier in the day, but that wouldn't really do much, I guess, since, well, as mentioned, that was way earlier in the day. The timeline wouldn't... Even he should have recognized our voices. Well, they got you there. The argument must have turned ugly because the defendant killed the victim with her magic sword. That's conjecture, isn't it? Weren't there plenty of other people around who could have performed the crime? The tavern's been closed for years. The defendant, the victim, and Ruby Tamara were the only ones there before the body was discovered, plus the murder weapon definitely belonged to her. Well, it's a given Miss Tamara didn't do this, and it'll be hard to prove someone else was at the crime scene, but you can't feel there's something off about what he just said. No, you shouldn't have panicked so much before. His testimony is straightforward, but that'll actually make this easier. Assuming Miss McCoy's innocent, there has to be a flaw in the logic. I actually really like... Yeah, I'm really liking how the papers are just, light... loading up there. That's really cool. You just need to compare every statement to each piece of evidence in your notes. Once you find a contradiction, prevent that. And this is effectively the tutorial here, and I'm pretty confident I know which it is. Magic sword. It has no magical properties. Objection! Commander White, you testified the victim was killed using the defendant's magical sword. Am I correct? Yeah, this is pretty obvious when we look at the crime scene. I think I'd actually have to disagree with you on that. The defendant's sword couldn't have possibly been the murder weapon. What are you talking about, kid? The sword was in his body. Of course, that's what killed him. That may be the case, but take a look at the autopsy report. It states the fatal wound had heavy traces of magic. So how would a non-magical sword leave traces of magic on the body? What? To leave a trace like that, the wound would have to have been created with something magical. My client's sword may look fancy and expensive, but it's genuinely mundane. That doesn't make a lick of sense. If the sword didn't kill him, why was it in the body? Yes, I find that quite strange as well. Well, there's only one reasonable explanation, Your Honor. The wound was created magically, and someone shoved the sword in the wound after. What are you talking about? The defendant's a damn mage. She could have easily killed the victim using magic. That may be, Commander, but why would she kill the victim using magic and then stab him with her sword? She would just be incriminating herself by doing that. No, if anything, the series of them proves one thing. Someone used magic to kill the victim, and they pushed my client's sword into the wound to frame her. Don't get ahead of yourself. What? Your Honor, the defense is trying to spin the facts in his favor. Claims a third party committed the crime using the sword to frame, but wouldn't the simpler explanation be this? Magic was being channeled through the sword at the time of death, and that was what left the magical trace on the body? Commander, please tell the defense how the murder was committed using magic. What? I think I see where you're going with this. It's true that the sword itself is not magical, but magic can still be channeled through it. The defendant over there, her spell compendium has a spell called Mage Blade. She must have used it on a sword before stabbing the victim, and that spell is the reason there were traces of transmutation magic on the wound. So her spell compendium contains Mage Blade. Compendium is a magical device that lists every spell a mage can cast. Luckily, her compendium only contains one spell. That means she can only cast the one spell. Celeste, do you happen to have your compendium with you? No, I left it in the tavern. After, well, you know. We can't look at the description. You have to approach this another way. The commander's testimony was a lot more vague this time. If you compress his statements, you might be able to get new information to use against him. Cross-examination. Pressing the statement can get them to add a statement or amend a statement of their testimony. It's true the sword is magical, but the... Yeah, if pressing is effectively a free action, I have no reason not to press everything just to get the extra dialogue. Nothing else that could help context or add extra details that might be useful later. Or could help clarify things that have already been established, I guess. So are you saying my client uses a spell and channel it through a sword? There are a vast number of spells that operate like that. Spells from the school of transmutation are almost always channeled through an object. Yeah, I don't have a way to get her information, since she left it behind. That vent over there, a spell compendium, has a spell called Mage Blade. Mage Blade. A transmutation spell that sharpens my sword. I only use it when I need to cut through an enemy's plate armor. You didn't realize she led such a, lethal lifestyle. But anyways, wouldn't it be excessive to use a spell like that on the victim? He wasn't wearing any kind of armor at all at the time of death. The victim and the defendant were in a very intense argument. Perhaps she used the spell in a fit of rage. It was a crime of passion, after all. True, no one's claiming it was a premeditated murder of any kind. That theory's a little far-fetched, but you do need hard evidence if you want to disprove it. She must have used it before stabbing the victim. But why would she go through the trouble of doing that? Her sword alone would have been enough to commit the murder. Mages are always looking for an excuse to throw their power around. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Isn't that your own personal bias, Commander? You don't need to understand why the defendant did what they did. The fact of the matter is, magic was present in the crime. Do you have any evidence to the contrary? You don't. Yet. That spell is the reason there are traces of transmutation magic in the wound. If she used a spell like that, wouldn't that have created traces of magic on the ground? Oh, so? Well, let's say we follow the prosecution's theory. That would mean the victim fell to the ground with the sword still inside him. At that point, Mage Blade would still be active, would it not? Definitely leave a magical trace on the ground after making physical contact with it. Ah, we're already way ahead of you! That is one sinister smile. And the fact he has an expression like that in his sheet, on his sprite sheet, carries a number of interesting implications. We had our people scan the crime scene, and we found traces of transmutation brought into the body, just like you said. You still don't believe me, I have a picture of the crime scene right here. Oh, why was this picture not brought to my attention? Because there was no need. The entire case is open and shut. Try and see out your notes. You've seen pictures of the dead before, but it feels different now that it's a body of someone you knew. Looks like there are indeed traces of magic on the ground, but the shape is a little weird, isn't it? What was that just now? That means she noticed something. And I'm going to assume the beehive shape there is the spell detection. But if that's the case, it's pretty wide and open there. In this photo, she killed with a stab from the front. Alright, this photo does show a stab from the front, but why do you feel like there's something wrong with this picture? And this would be a lot easier if you knew the parameters of Mage Blade. Perhaps you can get him to add statements to his testimony, or edit his testimony. Don't think of now as press statements. You can see in the photo, she stabbed him with a kill from the front. Stabbed from behind. I'm sorry, Commander White, but it seems you've presented another glaring contradiction. Oh yeah, and what's that? You said my client stabbed the victim from the front, am I correct? Well yeah, I can see it plain as day in that picture. So where's the contradiction? That's the thing, Commander. Your picture clearly shows the victim stabbed from the front, but the autopsy report said he died from a stab from behind. What? Orm, you were supposed to release everything that you had. Why wasn't this photo given to me? There was no need. There's no way it could have been anyone other than the damn mage. Murmurs ring out across the galaxy. It didn't matter how corrupt the justice system was. They can't cover up such a blatant incompetence. You have them right where you want them. Order in the court! Mr. Cuthbert, what's the meaning of this? I'll tell you what the meaning behind this is, Your Honor. As the autopsy report states, the victim died from a stab wound originating from his back. But this photo shows the sword enters from his front. This can only mean one thing. The sword was inserted to the wound after the fatal wound had already been created. That's crazy! You honestly expect us to believe that? And yet the evidence is right here. Then please enlighten me, Commander White. How else would the sword be facing the opposite way? Do you think my client would stab the victim with a hilt of her sword? I didn't think so. What really happened is clear. The real murderer stuck the sword through the victim's wound to implicate my client, but they made a careless mistake and stuck it through the opposite side. It appears I underestimated you, Mr. Cuthbert, but you've still gotten ahead of yourself. Oh, so? Really? Ready, Miss Steelwind? I believe he has adequately cast doubt upon your case. Did he now? Then let me ask you one question, Mr. Cuthbert. Your client didn't kill Flynn McCoy. Then who did? How should I know? If I'm not mistaken, that's the commander's job to figure out. Oh man, I'm so happy to see him say something like that. Oh, I'm aware of the commander's incompetence. But that one fact still stands. There's magic detected on the wound and sword. Would you like for me to tell you how many mages live in that small town? You don't like where she's going with this. Just one, and there's only one registered mage in the entire town. And that mage is your client. The defendant was also established to have been with the victim hours before his death. She was the last known person with him, and she was the only mage there. In addition to that, I have several witnesses that heard them arguing. How she murdered the victim is simply an unanswered question. I'm sorry, that certainly does change matters. I can't say the prosecution's evidence is irrefutable, but there's still evidence that casts guilt upon the defendant. Damn, you almost had them. There are far too many unanswered questions for me to pass a verdict. We will give the law enforcement time to clear these unknown questions. I suggest they conduct their investigation more thoroughly this time. We will resume the trial tomorrow morning. Court's adjourned. Hello, Cuthbert. As you walk out of the courtroom, you're greeted by Miss Tamora. Oh, you're here? You recall how you froze up during your first cross-examination. You feel a little shame your mentor saw all that. Well, at the end of the day, you were able to pull together, and once you did that, you performed adequately. On that note, I want to give you this. Her spell compendium. It contains a formula for the following spell. Mage Blade. For the duration of the spell, the edge of the object, usually a blade, are unnaturally sharp, making it more effective at slashing through material. While under the effects of the spell, the object emits a yellow radiant glow. The target must be no longer larger than a 5-foot cube. Duration is a minute. That's a very short spell. You'd pretty much have to cast it almost immediately before you take action. My spell compendium. I swept it in the dining area before the Inquisition arrived. I thought it'd be best you have it. So this is your spell compendium. It only has one spell. Mage Blade. That means the prosecution has to prove Celeste used that one specific spell. It will restrict how they approach the case, which gives you the edge over them. But that prosecutor is something else. You mean Steelwind? You can still remember her ripping glare. It gives you chills just thinking about it. You wouldn't even know it, but this is also her first trial. Really? I thought her inexperience would make for a good first opponent, but that girl, she's natural in the courtroom. Makes me wonder why a Steelwind chose to become an attorney in the first place. What do you mean? Steelwinds are a powerful, noble house. Of the noble families, they're one of the very few that answer directly to the king. Most members take high-ranking positions in the kingdom's military, so it is a bit strange she chose to become a prosecutor despite that. Steelwind. I feel like I've heard it somewhere before. In any case, it's best you focus on the trial. You have about a day till court resumes. Alright, now that I have time, I'd like to ask you questions, Celeste, namely about the argument you had with your father. Oh. You see the bailiff staring daggers at Celeste. I know this is probably going to be a very painful thing for her to talk about, but we need everything we can if we're going to win the case tomorrow. It looks like they're waiting to take her back to the cell. Whatever questions you have now will have to wait. I should probably go. She walks away while avoiding eye contact. Bring up her argument may have struck a nerve. I'll also use this opportunity to investigate the crime scene. I wouldn't be surprised if the Inquisition missed something. You utterly embarrassed them today. Don't expect them to make the same mistake twice. Right, there's still a lot of things we don't know about. As much as I hate to admit it, your skills of deduction far surpass mine. If anyone can figure out what really happened that night, it's you. The game's pretty linear, so I don't think we're gonna need the alternate save slots. You arrive back at the tavern. Lucky for you, the Inquisition set up a teleportation circle for you to use. With that circle, you can teleport between the capital and crime scene instantaneously. It's miles better than having traveled by carriage. Oh, it's you. are you doing here? Commander White takes notice of you as you enter the tavern. Looks like he's working with a team of knights to investigate the scene. Well, I'm the defense attorney in this case. I have just as much right to investigate this crime scene as you do. Yeah, whatever. Just remember, I got my eye on you, kid. I was wondering if I could ask you a question about the case? Ha! As if I'd help the likes of you. I saw your bosses. I know what you're up to. That witch probably sent you to con me. What? I'm just looking for information. A likely story. He was cooperative before when I let you see Celeste. Why is he so stubborn now? Is he angry? I guess he could just be petty that we embarrassed him in court today, yeah. And in case you won't get anywhere at this rate, if you want his help, you'll have to persuade him through argument. It helps to prepare before starting an argument. Talk to him or present items to build a psychological profile. If you successfully fill the profile gauge, you'll have more than enough information. You'll receive more information during any arguments against him. There's chalk outline of a person on the ground. It's probably where Flintheart died. The outline matches the picture that the Inquisition took. Nothing seems out of place here. It's a painting of a man in a suit. There's text on it. Adam Evelai, politician of the pedantic. Seems to be a Ace Attorney parody of some sort. I've heard of this guy. He's some sort of politician from one of the nations west of here. I mean, that pointing pose is pretty iconic. I heard he's pretty much a shoo-in to win whatever election they have going on there. Was Flintheart studying democracies for his revolution? Ah, painting of a mage, and there's some text on it. Ah, the explosion painting. Somalia Daglion, a legendary practitioner of Arcane, mysteriously disappeared one day. Mysteriously disappeared, and he's got a picture of explosions. I certainly hope he didn't end up on the wrong side of one of his own spells, because that is actually a thing that can happen. Or is it? Huh. Yeah, I think it'll be important to check out whether or not spells have friendly fire in this universe, because in some they do, and some they don't. And others, there's a way to work around it. It's rumored he was developing a formula for a new transmutation spell. However, he was reckless in casting it and he lost control. His body's never found. Many speculate he didn't actually die, but if that's true, where did he end up? Well, teleportation spells gone wrong are pretty common in the career of magecraft, I imagine. Sounds like a cautionary tale against using magic. That might explain why Flintheart kept it in his tavern. There's a modern-looking lamp mounted on the wall. It's a lamp powered by artificery. I didn't expect to find something this sophisticated in a town like this. Well, artificery is just another form of magic. Actually, it draws from the surrounding ley lines. I didn't ask for a science lesson, kid. Anyways, look to where artificery got these folks. Their arcane power cell broke and they haven't had any power for weeks. Yep, nothing beats good old oil and flame. Broken power cell. However, the power cell's been broken for weeks. The lamps can't get turned on. Yeah, I guess that's kind of... I imagine those kind of arguments were used back when electricity was first starting to catch on. Inquisition lit some candles, but there's a magical lamp right here. Wonder why they're not using those instead. There definitely seems to be a hole. Ooh, what's this? Think about mages. There's a broken ball on the floor. It's shattered close to the chalk outline of the body. The label says Lotus Juice on it. Huh, I've never heard of that brand before. Must be foreign. Shattered bottle of Lotus Juice. Added to your notes. I do appreciate that it marks which ones you've already checked, so you don't go over the same stuff too much. This place has been without power for a week. I wonder if there's any information I can infer from that. They've been using candles to keep this place lit. This is exactly why you can't rely on magic. I mean, they're not mutually exclusive. Or at least I haven't gotten any evidence that shows they're mutually exclusive. You could always have both, I guess. I think I technically have candles in my house despite using electricity for lighting. Granted, I haven't really used them in ages. And technically I think they're scented candles, but... hey, that does mean in the case of a power outage, I do genuinely have a source of light. Shattered remains of a glass bottle. You found it next to the body. I wonder what Lotus Juice is. It's definitely not a drink I've heard of. Must be some kind of imported brand. I've never seen a real spell compendium before. I'm still not exactly sure how they work. Well, spell compendiums are magical devices that display exactly what spells a mage can cast. You probably guessed, but the Inquisition uses these things all the time. Right, having the information is definitely a blessing for defense and prosecution. That mage's sword truly is strange. It's almost a shame we had to confiscate it. Is it really that abnormal? It's definitely not like any kind of sword I've seen. I wonder if it was forged in the Eastern Kingdoms. What do you think about this? I don't know what you're expecting me to say. Not much to say about that. Let's try something else. I'm guessing that's a generic one if they don't have a response to it. Autopsy report seems pretty detailed in some aspects and vague in others. Why is that? I'm not sure about the details, but the autopsy is performed by a mage who studies divination. Their magic gives details about how someone dies, but there's always a few blind spots. Blind spots? Like that. Well, for one thing, if someone mucks around with the body after death, the report can become muddled. That's absolutely just like how real ones can be. I mean, that's why, like, if someone dies in a very cold environment or is put in a freezer or something that can mess with it, to use an example from Ace Attorney that was streamed on my very channel, because I am very shameless about shilling my previous work. Divination magic can tell what happened to a body, but not in what order and what times. But someone definitely stabbed Flintheart's body with Celeste's sword. If what he's saying is true, it'll be that much harder to figure out what kind of weapon had originally killed him. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? Alright. What about... I heard this was Prosecutor Steelwind's first trial. She must be pretty talented if that's true. A pain in my ass is what she is. That damn noble comes in here telling me how to do my job. I honestly have no idea what she's even doing in this line of work. She's a mage from some noble house, isn't she? She must be a very powerful one. Ha! Powerful's an understatement. Any one of the Steelwinds could turn this entire town into a glass crater. What? There's no way that's true, right? Himself. What do you think about this? I have to ask, has something happened between you and Miss Tamora? Ha, Miss Tamora. What are you, her lackey or something? No, she was my guardian. Oh, I didn't even know she had a... Look, kid, I don't know what the deal is between you two, but no good will ever come of associating with her. This is about rumors, isn't it? Throughout the years, there have been several insidious rumors surrounding her. She's been accused of forgery, blackmail, and all manner of illegal activities. It's clearly misinformation spread by the nobility to discredit her. She's always been fine with it, but you can't help but get angry on her behalf. It's more than just rumors. I've seen it for myself. That woman's evil, kid. But she defends mages who don't have protection of nobility. She can't be evil. She's a hero. Oh, yeah, whatever. Ah, that was some important information we just got. What do you think about the victim? I guess he doesn't have anything. I never expected a girl like that to be a mercenary. But I also would have never expected her to be a murderer either. Well, she's not. I'll prove it at trial tomorrow. Oh, whatever you say, kid. Myself, what did you say about me? You know, I never knew Tamora had a kid. Why have I never seen you before? I tend to stay inside a lot. As a child, who couldn't control the Eye of Horus that well, hearing the myriad of thoughts from a large crowd. Ah, so it is... Okay, so the Eye of Horus is indeed something that's always active, and he probably has to focus to keep it off, I imagine. Let's find out. Myriad from a large crowd tend to be overwhelming for you. I've only ever seen her as a ruthless lawyer. It's hard to imagine a woman like that taking care of a kid. Well, she was just ruthless as a guardian. Inquisition. What does the Arcane Inquisition do exactly? Trying to pick a fight with me? No, I'm genuinely curious what you do. I'm sure you already know, but we investigate crimes that involve magic. Do those crimes like that happen very often? Ah, once in a blue moon, really. Makes sense, most mages are in the nobility after all. Even if they're untouchable, they don't make a habit of getting into trouble with the law. You must have an easy job then? Heh, you got that right. The only reason we exist is to clean up the nobility's messes. He doesn't seem too happy about that. That's something good to know, I guess. Commander White, you seem to speak negatively about my client's magic. Do you have a personal grudge against mages for any particular reason? God damn right I do. Wow, I didn't even try to deny it. If you had any sense, you would too. All mages do is wave their hands and say some magic nonsense, and you still have a dead body on the ground. Don't get me started on mage blight. If some noble uses their magic too much, they end up snapping, going on a rampage. I don't know if this is going too far, but why join the Inquisition if you hated mages that much? Considering the fact that, my job is to sweep the nobility's crimes under the rug. Sorry, I didn't mean to insinuate. No, you have the right of it, actually. Anytime a noble's involved in the case, I'm required to look the other way. You don't seem very happy to do that. Why would you stay in this line of work, then? Because once in a while, I'm allowed to actually put a criminal mage behind bars. We can't go after the nobles, but any other mage is fair game, or at least they were before your boss showed up. Psychological profile is complete. Might as well ask about Ruby. I have to ask, something happened between you two? What are you, a lackey? Oh, it's just the same thing as presenting. I'm good at the evidence. I imagine if I go to the place before I finish up here, it'll probably just say, oh, our client's in questioning. She can't talk right now. Alright, well, let me grab a sip of my drink here. I brought a full bottle of water. I'm trying to be as prepared as possible because I know these VNs can be murder my throat. So 1 minute while I grab a hydrate, please. Okay, we're gonna now begin our argument. Help. Commander White seems unusually hostile towards you. You have a feeling it's not just because you embarrassed him in court. If you clear up this misunderstanding, you might be able to convince him to help you. Argument. Alright, I'm gonna have to come out psychological profile. Stubborn, stuck in his ways. He seems to have a grudge against Ruby and will react negatively if you defend her. However, he will respect you if you defend yourself against a personal attack. Ah, interesting. Do you have a problem with me, Commander White? You should know exactly what my problem is with you. It's all who you work for. Do I have to spell out for you? She's a crooked lawyer. What does your boss not tell you what she gets up to? Elocutions and arguments. Arguments are not always fought with hard evidence. Sometimes you need to elocute to convince your opponent the claim is wrong. When you're prompted, choose one from 3 possible responses. The correct will be gleaned from reading your opponent's psychological profile. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. What matters is my client deserves some. Defend. You have no right to their basis to calculations. Deflect. It's deflect, but it is true. She's not the one who gave me the case or anything. I'm the one handling all of it. Regardless of what she's done, I'm the one heading the case. Whatever problems you have with her, they have nothing to do with me. Well, that doesn't change the fact you work for her. I've seen that woman do all kinds of shady shit in the cases I've worked. Forgery, bribery, blackmail, you name it. You're just another crook. But you're the same, a successor for the devil of defense attorneys. I'm not Ruby. What you've seen her do, I'm running an honest case. Rationalize forgery. Have you seen her do any of those things? Because all I've done so far is point out the mistakes you've made. Alright, so I have 2 ways I can go about this. Because for one, asking him to prove it is a bit tricky because he doesn't have anything. I'm pretty sure he has nothing, but... And of course, this. The defending is entirely... This is purely defensive, but at the same time, he's just saying all I'm giving is my word and that's worth nothing. I could try and rationalize to... Then again, he does say defend. So he probably wants me to go full defensive without going on the offensive or without defending others. Hey, I'm not Ruby Tamora. It doesn't matter if the rumors are true or not. Regardless of what you've seen her do, I'm running an honest case here. Look, kid, I'd like nothing more than to believe you. I really do, but after everything I've seen her do, I know better. I have no reason to trust you. Anyone taught by that woman can't be anything more than a crook. Nothing I've done has given you any reason to suspect me. Have you seen me engage in any crook behavior? I'm guessing it's either deflect or rationalize. But at the same time, if I say, have you seen me do anything, and he says, yeah, it's something like that, that could be it. But then again... I'm leaning towards these two, but I'm not entirely sure. However, respective of defending the personal attacks. Nothing I've done, but he could aid defending or working for could be enough. Have you seen me engage in any... Her teaching was ruthless, I'll give you that, but the only thing she taught me is how to practice law. Have you seen me engage in a crook-like behavior? Argument 1. You just want some info, right? Yes, that's all I'm asking for. Alright, answer questions. Just don't make me regret this. The murder weapon. Well, this probably goes without saying, but I don't think that sword is the murder weapon. Right, I guess we have to prove someone else put the sword there. The Inquisition find anything suspicious over the scene? We're asking if we found another bloody weapon lying around. We absolutely did not. That would be a little too convenient, wouldn't it? But let's say the girl really is being framed. If there was another murder weapon, the killer probably just walked out with it. Do you think they could have hidden it somewhere in the tavern? I doubt it. After the trial, Steelwind turned the place upside down and scanned it with her magic. If someone did hide a murder weapon here, they'd have had to done it well, or they hid it in plain sight. True, if it's something no one would have thought of as a murder weapon, that would be something. Alright, Steelwind. I've heard this was Prosecutor Steelwind's first trial. She must be pretty talented. Pain my ass. It's the same thing that happened when I presented her profile. His mistake. I can't believe you made an obvious mistake during your investigation. Oh, shut it with that already. I already got an earful from Steelwind about the mess. Well, you don't have to worry about me mucking things up. Steelwind's basically taken over the entire investigation. Wait, does she have the authority to do that? Normally she wouldn't, but I know better than to go against the orders from a noble. Right, there was definitely a strange power dynamic between them. But honestly, that girl sweats the details too much. She even had my men drop a scaled map of the crime scene. Wait, really, do you have a copy? Sure, knock yourself out. Don't know how much good it'll do ya. I think you found everything you can here, but what does it all mean? There's no murder weapon you found, there's no obvious evidence of another person in the scene. Hey, you okay? You're quiet all of a sudden. Alright, just focus, close your eyes and let everything disappear from the world. Listening? So there's no clear evidence pointing to another killer. There is, however, evidence pointing to how Flint's heart moved before his death. What? What can we tell about how Flintheart died? There's no blood trail leading to or from the body. What does this imply about his death? The killer framed Celeste after the murder. No, there was no blood trail where Flint's body was. The lack of blood trail is something important, namely, where he was throughout the murder. Flintheart didn't move during the murder. Flintheart must have died precisely where he was attacked. He didn't move from his position at all. Huh, yeah, I guess you're right. There's also the autopsy report that said he died from a stab behind. He was probably caught off guard and was too incapacitated to move anywhere else. That means the attack happened in the exact position he fell over. Updated notes. There's also the shattered bottle of lotus juice. How did the bottle shatter? I doubt it means anything, but the bottle is next to the body. Flintheart must have dropped the bottle when he was attacked. From that, we can infer he was holding it before he was attacked. Shattered the glass bottle. Flint McCoy was holding this bottle and dropped it during the murder. What's so strange about one bottle, though? It may seem like an insignificant detail, but that could help me infer other elements of what happened in the murder. Right. There's also the fact the artificial lights were out. Were these candles here when you arrived at Seymour? No, we had to light some so that we could see the crime scene properly. We thought it was weird, too. The girl and her father must have had an argument in absolute pitch darkness. What can we infer about the state of the crime scene? So they didn't light candles to make up for the broken lights. The crime scene had no lighting during the murder. The crime scene had no lighting during the murder. Broken power cell. This means the lights were not operational during the murder. The argument Celeste had must have been spontaneous. They weren't planning to have a conversation in this room. In darkness, Flintheart wouldn't have a lot of visibility. If he was stabbed from behind, he probably didn't see it coming. He was clearly surprised and probably too much shocked to run away. Also, the ball may seem insignificant, but he was holding it. He was pouring a drink for a visitor. Either way, the assailant must have been unseen. Kid? Well, the assailant attacked him with his blind slot. Why was the back be turned, though? Was he distracted? Kid! What? What was that all about? Sorry, I just something get lost in my thoughts. Yeah, well, cut it out. You're freaking me out, man. Oh, right. Anyways, I think you found everything you can here. You should move somewhere else. I guess we can go upstairs, see if anything's here. People keep seeing you here, they're gonna start asking questions. Leave the investigation to me. All you have to do is stay quiet until the trial's over. When heading upstairs, you spot the prosecutor having a conversation. They seem to be in some kind of argument. Enough, I'll do as I see fit. You may be a steel one, but this is my land. Sorry. Oh, you're the defense attorney from the trial. I am. Sorry, but how rude of me. My name is Lord Garrick Pierce, the ruling noble of this land. Occupation, nobleman. Nothing more specific than that. A ruling noble. I suppose I should thank you for playing your role in the current trial, as misguided as it may be. I suppose you also think my client's guilty? It doesn't matter what I think. The entire scandal's done nothing but rile up the common folk. Magic is a gift for nobility and nobility alone. It's a symbol of aristocracy and our divine right to rule. Now that bastard child's attainted that symbol in the public eye. Hey, all that has nothing to do with her. She's an innocent woman who got caught up in all this. Even if she is innocent, the charges have been laid and made public. Someone must take the fall, lest the public accuse the justice system of corruption. They're saying she's found guilty even if she's innocent? Well, I mean, what do you suppose will happen if she's acquitted? The public will see her as a mage going free, despite a myriad of evidence. That alone would cause public outrage. Tensions between aristocracy and common folk are high enough as it is. Was one insignificant girl compared to the stability of our great kingdom. Well, to steal a quote, it's never gonna be just one, is it? That's enough. Stop antagonizing him, Pierce. I can't refute what he said, but I don't agree with it. What? The system should be based on truth and justice, not public opinion. Why are you working against my client? Do you honestly think she's the kind of person who would kill her father? It doesn't matter what kind of person she appears to be. The evidence clearly points to her as the only possible killer. You should fight according to your own ideals, just as I will fight for mine. So it seems she does at least have some integrity as a prosecutor. She's doing it because she genuinely thinks her client is guilty, not because she needs to uphold. This might also explain why she decided to go against her family's usual business and become a prosecutor. It's hard to get a read on that woman. There's a door at the end of the hallway. It looks like it's seen some use recently. Try to open it, but it's locked. Perhaps someone might have the key to open it. Several doors lead to guest rooms. Aside from the rooms that you and Miss Tamora use, they don't look like they've been open for some time. There's some candles lighting the hallway. They look like they used to be part of the old architecture. View. So each square is 5 feet, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. 5, 10, 30, 35, 40, 5, 50, 55, 60, 55, 70. Alright, that gives me a good idea of the size there. You return to the cell this lesbian kept in. Prisoners. The ambient despair fills your mind like a horrendous stench. You do your best to ignore them, but you haven't had this much practice blocking out this many people. As you arrive, you sound heralded. As she sees you, her dour mood lifts from one. Oh, hi, Cuthbert. There's no need to address me formally. Just call me Tyrion. Okay. Anyways, I came here to ask you a question about the case. Right. I'm sorry for freezing up like that. I almost lost the trial. No, there's no need to apologize. You did great. It was only thanks to her. If she hadn't calmed me down, who knows what would have happened. I just don't understand, though. There were traces of magic on my dad's body. Right, there were traces on the sword and the body. Magical traces are particle magical residue left behind when a mage casts a spell. They only linger around for about 48 hours, and that does give you a rough timeline about when and where a spell's cast. Did you cast Mage Blade on your sword that day? I did. I usually cast when I train in the morning. That explains why there's a trace on the sword, at least. The trace on my sword leave a magical trace on my dad's body? No, magical traces can't be moved around physically. For a spell to leave, it has to be active when the physical contact is made. Really, what's that mean then? It means whatever killed your father had a transmutation spell active at the time. And as we saw from her book, her spell only lasts 1 minute. So the residue would remain, but it can't actually be in effect in that time. Yeah, the magic for this world has clear rules and stuff it has to follow, so this is actually quite logical. The magic trace is just an unlucky coincidence. I can't believe this. Heart. Tell me more about your father. Sorry, I know this must be difficult, everything that happened. No, it's okay. If it helps you, I'll try to do my best to answer your questions. Were you too close? We were. I'm sure you know this by now, but I was adopted by him and my mom. But even though I didn't have their blood, they treated me as if I did. He loved me with all his heart until... Does this have something to do with the argument they had? Sorry I have to say this, but I could hear your argument from the room that night. Could you tell me what happened? For as long as I could remember, my dad has hated mages. I'm not sure why, but if even mentioned, he'd fly into a rage. So I hid my magic from my family. But why even learn magic in the first place? If you wanted to, you could have gone your whole life without actually using it. Ever since our tavern closed, my family's been in a lot of debt. I decided to become a mercenary and use magic to enhance my ability to fight. Most mages are nobility, so people will pay a lot for a sellsword who can use magic. So that's why she became a mercenary. Occupation. She learned magic to support her family as a mercenary. Apparently, many people pay extra for a mercenary that can use magic. I know now, learning magic was the biggest mistake I ever made. On that night, my dad found my spell companion. When he confronted me, I finally came clean. That's when he flew to another of his rages. He shouted, told me I betrayed him and the family. I'm sorry, I can't imagine how that must have felt. This does show that some types of magic, at the very least, many types of magic can have to be opted into. You can despite having the power for magic, you can simply not learn any. And of course, this could point towards our Eye of Horus not quite being a spell or whatever. It could be something different from magic in some fashion. One thing I did learn when I started up my tabletop game for the first time ever, there was definitely a clear distinction between actual types of spells and spell-like abilities. And of course, from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I've learned that exact wording absolutely matters. I deserved every bit of it. I knew how much he hated magic, but I chose to learn it anyways. He showed me so much love, and I just threw it away. Oh, don't say that. I'm sure he still loved you. No, I could see it in his eyes. He died hating me. You feel sharp pain in your chest as you see that thought. Locked door. So there's a locked room in the tavern at the very end of the hallway. The Inquisition probably searched it, but I want to investigate to be sure. A locked room at the end of the hallway? I think that's my room. You know I could get in there? It's the only room I haven't investigated. You feel a suspicious gaze. What's that look for? I'm your lawyer. I'm not gonna do anything weird. Sorry, you're right. Here, use this key to get inside. Present evidence. You probably shouldn't show that to her. She's already been through enough. You shouldn't remind her about her father's death unnecessarily. Occupation. Can you tell me more about this? Oh, I don't know what to say about that. Sorry. I best try something else. I didn't expect to find artificery in a village like yours. Oh yeah, I brought it for my family to make their lives easier. But I think it just made things more complicated. Yeah, without an arcane power cell, the lights aren't very useful. Mage Blade. It's a spell that sharpens my sword so I can cut through plate armor. When would you need to use a spell like that? Well, it's not just for plate armor. I can cut through all kinds of things with it. Trees, boulders, ballista, fortified gates. It cuts through most things like butter. You start to wonder what kind of life she led before this case. Derek Pierce. Can you tell more about this? I guess she wouldn't know too much about him. Herself. Can you tell more, Oh, her sword. That's a pretty strange sword. I've never seen anything like it. You like it? It's a souvenir I got while traveling the Eastern Kingdoms. Wait, you've been to the Eastern Kingdoms? I thought Wyvern Guard has a strict policy preventing people from crossing the border. Well, I didn't exactly enter legally. Quickly glanced at the guard. He didn't seem to be listening. Please don't make a habit of telling people that. You're in enough trouble as it is. Yeah. If I show stuff directly tied to the case, she might not like it, but I guess we know where to go next. Celeste's room. Use the key to enter Celeste's room. However, you're startled when you know someone's already inside. I already told you knights everything that I know. What more do you... Oh, aren't you Celeste's attorney? I am. Who are you? Oh, how rude of me. I'm Jolene McCoy, her mother. Ah, we never ran into her before. Wait, age 46. She looks really good for that age. Wow. How's the trial this morning? I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for my daughter. So this is Celeste's mother. She might be able to tell you more about Flintheart. About that, do you mind if I ask questions of my investigation? Of course, I'll do anything I can to help. First of all, let's examine the room. It's a painting of a woman with some sort of aquatic animal. Oh, I love that painting. Celeste bought it back from her travels. It looks like an axolotl. Supposedly, the woman's name, Madeline Kipling. What I've heard, she runs a wildlife sanctuary for endangered species. I think the animal is called a fey kip. Celeste told me she really likes them. That's interesting, you weren't aware those kinds of creatures existed. Given it's a magical world, there could absolutely be fey creatures. That's a fancy-looking bed. Celeste had it custom-made. Wouldn't something like this be expensive? It was. I was really surprised when she returned from her travels. Apparently, she was making a lot of gold from her job as a mercenary. Wow, you and Flintheart must be happy for her. We are, but she'd gotten a less dangerous job. The door leading to the upstairs hallway. Table with several chairs. It must be used for entertaining guests. Doesn't look like it's seen much use, though. Can you tell me why your husband hated mages? I understand most people dislike the nobility and the magic associated with them. But on that night, he was furious specifically because she had magic. Oh, you must have spoken with Celeste. I wasn't there when their argument happened, but I can only imagine what he said to her. You know what happened to him? Why does he hate magic? Celeste doesn't know about this, but years ago, Flintheart had a sister named Effie. When we were all children, we were friends with a boy named Garrick Pierce. He was the son of a ruling noble at the time. Garrick, isn't that the nobleman who speaks with Steelman? We were all inseparable at the time. He'd always sneak into town to play with us against his family's wishes. They probably weren't too happy about that. He's quite rebellious back then. But he's a completely different person now. So she probably spoke with him too. But everything changed when Garrick began learning how to use magic. One day, when we were playing together, he wanted to show off his spells he'd learned. He was told not to use his magic without his instructor there, but he was so excited. He began casting, but something went horribly wrong. He lost control and fatally wounded Effie. We tried bringing her back to town, but by that time it was too late. She was already gone. I'm sorry, that must have been traumatizing for all of you. The next day, the Arcane Inquisition came. House Pierce used the connections to cover up what happened. They even threatened Flintheart's family into keeping quiet. After that, the official story was Effie had been mauled by a wolf. Clearly a magical wolf, apparently. But I guess if fey creatures do exist in this world, that would... magical wolves might not be out of the realm of possibility. Not surprising, the nobility seldom take responsibility for their actions, even for a mistake like that. Sister died in an accident. Something changed in Flintheart after that. He began speaking out against nobility. Eventually started hosting rallies in this very tavern. Each night, more and more people began listening to his words and joining his cause. The number of people he'd gotten under his banner was terrifying. There's even talk of outright revolution in his kingdom. That explains why someone might go out of their way to kill him then. I knew how much danger he was putting himself in, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't convince him to stop. His attitude didn't even begin to change until we adopted Celeste. Can you tell me more about Celeste herself? How'd she become part of your family? It happened many years ago, back when the McCoy Tavern was still open. We were closing one night when we found a baby with white hair abandoned in the dining area. We waited weeks for her parents to come by, but no one ever came looking for her. And that baby was Celeste? Yes, Flintheart and I always wanted a child, and I thought Celeste must have been a gift from the Scaled Lord. One day I saw Celeste practicing magic. I think was when I realized someone from nobility must have abandoned her at the inn. I didn't care, though. I loved her all the same. I'm sure Flintheart did, too. Wait, you mean you knew she was a mage this whole time? Oh, I did. You haven't known her very long, but she's a terrible liar. Flintheart must have noticed, too. But I think he didn't want to believe it. It's my fault. I should have forced him to see the truth. Flintheart and Celeste. I spoke with Celeste earlier. She thinks her father must have hated her because she was a mage. There's no way he could ever feel that way. He loved her more than anything in the world. No matter what he said to her that night, nothing would ever change that. After seeing them together, you figure as much. Celeste was the world to him. When we adopted her, it was the first time in decades I'd ever seen him genuinely happy. They must have really been close. More than anything, do you want to hear a story? Celeste had just returned from her travels. She wouldn't stop talking about this foreign drink she loved. I think it was called lotus juice or something strange like that. Well, Flintheart did everything he could to have it shipped here. He called in a bunch of favors with his revolutionary friends, but in the end, he was only able to get a single bottle of it. Is it really that rare? Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the only bottle in the region. Wait a minute. Is this the bottle he brought? I showed the picture of the shattered bottle. Oh, it is. Oh no, he's gonna surprise her with it. I found the broken pieces next to Flintheart's. I found them in the dining area. That's strange. You've been keeping it in our room so she wouldn't find it. Really, when was the last time you saw it? Right before I left the house that night. It was right before their big argument. So it wasn't just laying around in the bar. He had to retrieve it after their argument. He was probably going to apologize with it. Alright, you think you've gotten everything you can, but there's one last thing you need to do. Write yourself one last conversation with Celeste. I heard you've been using artificery to light up your house. Yes, Celeste was insistent. However, we don't see the appeal, but she was insistent, so we couldn't say no. It is a bit of a problem, though. The machine that powers the lights always breaks. Can you tell me more about this? Sorry, I don't know much about these things. She's seen enough. It's best not to remind her of a dead husband more than you absolutely need to. Alright, guess we need to have one more conversation. Oh, you're back. Did you figure something? Actually, there's one last thing I need to speak with you about. Well, you said something I can't let go. Your father died hating you, but after everything I heard about him, I don't think that's true. Your father loved you even in his final moments. He just wanted to reach out to her. If she keeps believing you hated her, that'll eat away for the rest of your life. You know better than anyone. It's not going to make me feel better, but looks like it won't be that simple. You need to win an argument to see the truth. Celeste's closer. She believes her father died hating her, but after seeing them together and learning about them, you know that can't possibly be true. You need to convince her of that. Argument. I know you're trying to make me feel better, I do appreciate it, but everyone knows my father hated mages. Testimony. There's evidence. I don't know if that's my place to say this, but there was actually a reason your father hated mages so much. What? When Flintheart was a child, he had a younger sister. She was tragically killed by mages ages ago, and that's why he has such an immense hatred for magic. I never knew. That doesn't change anything. Yeah, I guess it makes sense this wouldn't be something he'd share. But that doesn't change anything. That's all the more reason for him to have to hate me. It was selfish of me to learn magic. He knew, but I still used to learn anyway. Magic killed somebody he loved. No wonder he was furious. Learn magic to support her family as a mercenary. But you didn't learn magic to benefit yourself, did you? You learned it to save your family after your tavern was shut down. You're a good person, Celeste. You did everything you could to help your family. I'm sure your father recognized that. Shut up. Stop it. Whatever composure she had is breaking down. You weren't there. You didn't hear what he said to me. In his final moments, he could only think of how I betrayed him. I could see in his eyes, there's no way he'd ever forgive me. Take a look at this picture, Celeste. Shattered bottle. Wait, is that a bottle of lotus juice? Do you know where I found this? It was on the floor of your family's inn. What? That can't be true. I tried to find it there, but no one sells in Wavengard. Your father knew how much you loved this drink. He called in quite a few favors to get it imported for you. He did that. Your father didn't hate you, Celeste. He loved you more than anything. That doesn't change anything. If he did that before me, it was before I knew my secret. I'm sure he never would have done that if he knew the truth. Oh, that's not true at all. What would you know about him? You barely even knew him. How could you possibly know how I felt? Don't you think I want to believe he still loved me before he died? But I know the truth. There's no way he could forgive me. Oh, it's not just the fact he bought that drink for you. It was also the bottle, where the bottle was when he shattered. What do you mean? Your mother said the bottle was stowed in her room before your argument, but I found the bottle shattered in the library where his body was. I ran into him before he went to look for you. He was going upstairs to his room. That can only mean one thing. He went to retrieve the bottle after your argument ended. What? Why would he do that? Because he was going to give it to you, Celeste. He was going to apologize for what he said. He was going to apologize. Your father loved you, Celeste. As tragic as it is, he was going to apologize to you before he was murdered. I don't like this. My daughter working as a mercenary. Dad, you know I can handle myself. I don't doubt it, but you still shouldn't risk your neck for our sakes. They closed the inn, Dad. We won't be able to survive unless I do this. Just be careful, okay? I don't know what I'd do if anything happened to you. No matter what he says, you're our daughter. And we'll love you till the day we die. Now I'm gonna cry. Damn it. Dad, how can you ever think? I'm sorry, Dad. She's barely been keeping it together through the whole argument, but the realization's finally causing her to break down. She begins crying loudly as she quickly embraces you in this cold, dark place. She probably hadn't felt the warmth of any kind for days. You're caught off guard and a little embarrassed, but you comfort her while she vents her emotions. Sometimes you need to let it all out. Are you feeling any better? Yeah, I think I'm okay now. I've been thinking such horrible things the entire time. She looks at you and gives you a warm smile. It's probably the first time you've seen her genuinely smile since this whole ordeal started. Thank you. Is everything really gonna be okay? I'll make sure of it. I'll get justice for you and your father. It doesn't matter who stands in my way. Even if they're a man, king, or god. You're completely different now. What happened to the nervous wreck from before? I like that cheeky pose of hers. Please forget about that. Well, I'm glad she's feeling better at the very least. Anyways, please get some rest. The trial's gonna resume soon. With everything, you've done everything you can for now. You've learned a lot about what happened. You just hope it's enough. But even with your investigation, you don't know what the prosecution has planned. Miss Pierce told you all the details, Mr. Rudolph. Will you remember them? Yes, I pride myself on my eidetic memory. Let me look up with this definition, and eidetic memory is the first one to come up. It's the ability to vividly recall an image you're exposed to, but only briefly. Alright, so it's basically similar to it's basically a photographic memory. Okay. I suppose it makes sense this guy would be prim and proper enough to have a $5 word like that. Or at least I think the saying is a $5 word. Whatever. Just so there are no misunderstandings, I do not approve of this. You said to yourself, Lady Steelwind, there's no possible way I could have done it. It has to have been the bastard child. We don't know what sort of tricks Ruby tomorrow might pull tomorrow. Just see this as a way of securing a just verdict. That's good. Alright, it's time. Hello, Cuthbert. Oh, hi, Miss Tamora. You're a lot jumpy than you were yesterday. Glad to see you're finally getting used to things. So, what'd you find in your investigation? You tell her about everything you've learned. There aren't a lot of clues that pointed at what actually happened. Yeah, I know a lot of tales about the crime scene, but nothing about the crime itself. This means I have to rely pretty much solely on pointing out contradictions within the testimonies. Being reactive to the prosecution's moves is a valid strategy. Honestly, I think it was a miracle you got the commander to cooperate with you at all. Right, you almost forgot. He appears to really have it out for Miss Tamora. Actually, I wanted to ask about that. Did something happen between you and Commander White? Miss McCall, hey, please proceed to the courtroom with your counsel. Let's go, Tyrion. The trial's about to start. You should go. The judge is waiting. Right, another secret's left buried between you two. Well, here we go. Court is now resumed for the trial of Celeste McCoy. Let us review the proceedings from yesterday. Yesterday, the defense presented some shocking oversights made during the investigation. Yes, I personally saw to it the investigation was conducted properly this time. I see. That puts my mind at ease. At yesterday's trial, we found an inconsistency between the crime scene photo and autopsy report. Because this defense tried to push the following narrative, the third party must have interfered to frame the defendant. However, the prosecution discovered another explanation. Because of that, the individual who discovered the body would like to testify as to what he saw that night. His eyewitness account should clear up what actually happened. Interesting, as my understanding the individual in question wished to remain anonymous. Supposedly, this witness was within the gallery of the trial yesterday, and after the proceedings he felt he couldn't stay silent any longer. So that's her plan. Why would the witness change his mind like that? Did she persuade him, or did something else happen here? Is something else happening here? Very well, let's hear from the witness. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. My name is Reginald Rudolph. They have chosen the most butler name to ever exist. I'm a chauffeur of the equine variety. Occupation, servant. Well, if they're not giving him a class, then that's just the whole thing. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I'm familiar with that profession. He means to say that he's a carriage driver. Oh, I see. But in any case, to my understanding, they find the body. Interesting. Unfamiliar with the concept of a servant. That carries some interesting implications, but I'll have to see where the story goes with it. Am I correct, Mr. Rudolph? Or it could just mean that the judge is that disconnected from standard society. Rudolph appears to be writing something in a notebook. He writes with incredible speed. His pen only touches the paper for maybe a second before he's filled the entire page. Dang. Mr. Rudolph? Forgive me. I was merely taking notes on the people in this room. Taking notes? The witness has a certain compulsion to keep a record of every event he witnesses. I see. Then I assume we shall receive accurate testimony of how you found the body? Actually, I witnessed much more than that. I saw the crime being committed. I wrote down everything that I saw. What? Oh, that is quite the claim. If that's true, why did you try to remain silent on that? We'd initially concluded that the evidence alone was decisive enough. Therefore, we saw no need at the time for his testimony. However, those circumstances clearly changed during yesterday's trial. There's absolutely no way the prosecution wouldn't leverage eyewitness testimony from the start. Something else is going on here. Yeah, a blatant eyewitness. It doesn't matter how good the evidence is. An eyewitness on top of all that would be a smoking gun. Very well. Mr. Rudolph, please testify to the court as to what you saw that night. Witness testimony. I was transporting a client in my carriage that evening. We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. This occurred around 1:28 a.m. Worried something was amiss. We walked in the establishment to see what the commotion was about. There I saw the defendant. She was lit by the blue glow of the dining room lights. She had stabbed him and channeling magic into her sword. She moved her sword from the chest as he slowly turned to face her. She stabbed him again. She didn't realize I'd witnessed her heinous crime. She let the body fall. Witnessed her heinous crime. She let the body fall to the ground and fled the scene. Incredible. If everything occurred as a witness described, I see no room for debate. Of course, the evidence has always been irrefutable. You don't remember seeing him when you left to look for Celeste, but it was pretty dark. Yeah, he's obviously lying because we know for a fact, that the artifice lights were not working that week. Celeste, did you see this man that night? No, this is my first time meeting him, and I didn't see him when I ran out of the tavern that night, so he has to be lying. Does that mean he's the one who killed my dad? Tries her best to hide it, but you can sense her restlessness. It's hard to say right now, but it's a possibility. Well, the defense may now begin cross-examination. Transport my client in carriage. Alright, who was the passenger in the carriage? Well... The identity of the passenger is irrelevant. The witness is the one who actually observed the crime as it occurred. If there's another person in the scene, that could be crucial to the testimony. The passenger is under no obligation to testify before the court, and the current witness's account of the events is more than adequate. That is blatantly withholding information, but she is correct, technically. We cannot force them to give a name unless we can prove it's relevant, I imagine. I see no reason for Mr. Rudolph to disclose the identity of their client. The defense must prevent a more valid reason to do so. We're driving around 128. I'm assuming the disturbance was the argument between my client and her father. Yes, I heard two voices, one young female and one gruff male. Presumably these were the voices of the two. Right, that matches up with what the neighbors heard too. What did you do after hearing the disturbance, Mr. Rudolph? I was worried something was amiss. I walked to the establishment to see what the commotion was about. You stopped your carriage in the middle of a job? That seems pretty abnormal for a carriage driver. What did your passenger think of this? I had no quarrel with it. What kind of passenger would be okay with stopping mid-travel? The passenger's thoughts of the matter are irrelevant to the testimony, unless you have hard evidence to prove otherwise. Yeah, we're starting to get... Some things are not adding up here. I can understand leaving them out, but the fact they're okay with just, abandoning... This is just too much. Now then, please tell us where you saw the establishment, Mr. Rudolph. Because, I mean, if you're hitching a ride or taking a taxi, would you really appreciate the driver just jumping off to do something mid-travel there? Especially if it wasn't a personal family emergency or something, just something random. I saw the defendant lit by the blue glow of the dining room light. So she had stabbed him. So you sound certain you saw my client and the victim. How are you so sure? Well, Finhar McCoy and his daughter were well known within the town. Finhar made himself quite known in the region with his social activism. The young Celeste, dressed in a manner far wealthier than the townsfolk of Cornhaven. Do you live in the same town as McCoy's? How would you know about this? Oh, I don't live there, but work brings me here quite frequently. The witness's place of residence has no bearing on the testimony. What matters is that he was there when the murder occurred. Why is she deflecting questions about his personal life? She moved her chest and slowly turned around and stabbed him again from the front. So you're saying my defendant stabbed him twice? Yes, that's exactly what I saw. But there's only one visible wound on the body. If what you say is true, that would mean she stabbed through this exact same wound. Isn't that extremely improbable? improbable, but not impossible. I guess, but people, from I recall reading that people usually have an easier time believing that something impossible happened than something improbable happened. But I suppose, that doesn't change that it's not... It is strange, I'll give you that, but nevertheless, that's what the witness saw happen. He's really reacting with this, but he won't get anywhere unless he can prove he's lying. She didn't realize that a witness for his crime. She fell to the ground and fled the scene. And you just let her get away. And also, she let a witness live. That seems rather odd. For a simple carriage driver, I have no way of combating an armed assailant. The witness also saw the defendant using magic. Do you also expect a chauffeur to subdue an armed mercenary? You suppose she has a point there. Must have come up with a detailed story beforehand and wrote it down. His little quirk of writing down everything perfect cover or read over his notes. I guess we'll be able to catch him lying if he keeps the story straight. Actually, it's the opposite. With all these details, it's easier to find inconsistency. You just need to find out which detail is incorrect. Because the blue glow, the power cell's been broken for weeks, and the lamps cannot be turned on. Objection! Mr. Rudolph, you testified you saw my client murdering the victim, and you saw her cast magic? Yes, I could never forget a grisly sight. That moment's burned in my memory. I see. Well, it's funny you would say that. How so? Because your entire testimony was a complete lie. What? Are you accusing the witness of perjury? Surely you know such an accusation can't be made lightly, Mr. Cuthbert. My accusation's far from baseless, Prosecutor Steelwind. Look at this report. The dining room lights are artificial devices powered by an arcane power cell. However, that same arcane power cell was broken during the time of the murder. The dining room lights had no energy. The room would have been pitch black. The witness could have seen anything, much less homicide. Wait, I can explain. There's no need, witness. You could have easily seen another source of light. Perhaps one of the McCoys lit a candle because of the blackout. The witness clearly described a source of quote-unquote blue light. A candle or lantern cannot emit a color like that. The witness is clearly mistaken. The witness records everything he sees in his notebook. He even remembers the exact time the event occurred. So why would he be incorrect about such a clear and obvious detail? No, what the witness called was clearly some form of magic, and due to lack of power, it couldn't have been artificery. It must have been an arcane spell. Oh, that's it. It must have been an incorrect assumption. Please have me revise my testimony. What do you think of this, Prosecutor Steelwind? If the witness wishes to revise, I see no harm in obliging him. And you, Mr. Cuthbert? If he thinks he saw something different, it's fair to hear him out. He'll tear through each of his lies no matter what he does. I remember now. Yes, yesterday it was revealed that Flintar was killed using magic. He must have seen his daughter channeling a spell. The spell was Mage Blade, am I correct? That's it. A blue glow must have been by Mage Blade. I see. Blue light must have come from the defense magic. Mr. Cuthbert, you may continue with cross-examination? With pleasure. It emits a yellow glow. It cannot be blue. Are you changing your testimony based on yesterday's trial? No, I assure you, that's not what I'm doing, but after thinking about further, I might finally understand what I saw. Channeling magic spell. Wouldn't that be very noticeable and distinct? The witness is of the common folk. Furthermore, the defendant's magical ability wasn't known to many until the night of the murder. What reason would the witness have to think he was witnessing magic? He would just think the sword was wreathed in a glow by some other means. Last part's rather far-fetched, but you can't really refute it right now. Mage Blade. You seem uncertain the spell you saw my client use. How can we trust the rest of your testimony? The witness has no knowledge of arcane arts, I'll grant you that, but it doesn't matter if he's unable to identify the specific spell. The only thing that matters is he saw it happen. You won't get anywhere unless you prove he didn't see Mage Blade. Blue glow. You still don't sound sure of yourself? I wasn't sure at first, but then I remembered that Flintar was killed using magic, because I really started to believe I didn't realize magic was used when I saw the scene. I suppose not. Not that you actually believe him. He just keeps telling lie after lie. She's trying to keep composure, but you know, it's firmly clenching fists. He's trying to cover for his mistake. I'm sure he's making things up on the spot now. He doesn't know how magic works. He barely understands what Mage Blade even does. Right, there has to be a flaw in the testimony because of that. Objection! Rudolph, you don't know much about magic, do you? Of course not. Are you trying to say I should have recognized it? No, I admit you probably wouldn't know about Mage Blade. But that's exactly where your mistake was. My mistake? Mr. Rudolph, you were aware of how Mage Blade works. If you were aware of how Mage Blade works, you would know that that particular spell emits a yellow radiant glow. Which means the blue glow could not have possibly been Mage Blade. It's ridiculous. I'll grant you the witness clearly remembers seeing a blue glow. What significance such a minor detail have? If It's extremely significant, prosecutor. If the witness did see a magical blue go, he must have witnessed another spell at the scene. Preposterous. You don't have any evidence to back up the claim. The blue light made a large impression on the witness. He wrote down the book and specifically mentioned color. There's no way he could be mistaken about something like that. So what exactly did you really see, Mr. Rudolph? Did you see my client casting a spell she can't possibly cast, or did you see another mage at the scene? Your Honor, the defense has no right to accuse the witness like this. Let me remind you that perjury is a crime, Mr. Rudolph. If you're found to have lied in your testimony, you will be prosecuted. No, wait, please. There's quite enough of that. Garrick Pierce suddenly steps down from the gallery and walks to the witness stand. He's breaking every possible rule in the book, but no one moves to stop him. The bailiff looks at the judge just narrows his eyes and carefully watches. Pierce, meanwhile, shoves the still flustered Rudolph off the stand and begins addressing the courtroom. What is he even doing right now? I will not stand by while you harass my servant. Pierce, we discussed this. There is no need for you to take the stand. And what, pray tell, do they discuss? Nonsense, I have nothing to hide. And if you've done your job properly, I would not have needed to intervene. For the first time, Steelwind doesn't have control of the situation. What's the meaning of this, Miss Steelwind? What is it? Who is this man? This is Garrick Pierce, Your Honor. That's Lord Garrick Pierce to you, Steelwind. I'm the honorable heir to the Pierce noble house. In any case, I must apologize. I'm afraid these misunderstandings are entirely my fault. What do you mean? You see, Rudolph wasn't the one who witnessed the crime that night. It was me. I was the one who witnessed it. I had my driver report the body so I could remain anonymous. What? Are you saying that you had Rudolph lie for you? I simply dictated to him what I saw and had him repeat to law enforcement. It simply wouldn't do for nobility to appear public in court. Lord Pierce, regardless of your intentions, this is a very clear act of perjury. But from the look on the judge's face, you can easily tell there won't be any actual consequences. I understand, I'll accept the consequence of that, but I would be remiss if Rudolph's shoddy testimony allowed the girl to escape her crimes. Please, allow me to testify as to what I saw that night. Oh, very well, it's highly irregular, but I believe the court will benefit from hearing your testimony. However, know that this misconduct has hurt your credibility. Very well. On the night of the murder, I found myself unable to sleep, so I went on a leisurely carriage ride around Cornhaven. I happened to be passing by the McCoy Tavern when I heard a loud commotion from within the building. Curious, I stopped my carriage and took a single step inside the establishment. Then I saw the crime scene. I saw the defendant stabbing the poor man twice with her sword. Garrick Pierce is a member of nobility. That means he's probably a mage, right? And he's the only other mage there that night. Does that mean? There's no doubt about it. He's the only person who could have left a trace of transmutation. He has to be the mage we're looking for. Sorry, this must be a lot for you right now. Oh, don't worry about me. Focus on taking him down. I found myself on a leisurely carriage ride. That seems like a strange way to pass the time, now that you believe him for a second. The witness's eccentricities are beside the point. What matters is that he was clearly at the scene. Oh, I wouldn't quite put it that way, but nevertheless, I happened to be passing by McCoy when I heard a loud commotion. I'm guessing the commotion was the argument between my client and the victim. One would conclude that, yes. As we all know, both of them became quite loud during their argument. It's not unreasonable to say the witness heard them from the carriage. Curious, I stopped my carriage and took a step inside and saw the scene inside. If he was at the tavern entrance, that would mean he was here. Crime scene map was updated. So you saw the entire scene from the tavern entrance? It would be quite dark considering light ops weren't operational. If my client was using Mage Blade at the time. Oh, of course, I've forgotten that detail. I couldn't see what was happening, so I used my magic to illuminate the scene. Use magic at the crime scene. Yes, I remember clearly. I conjured a blue light to illuminate the scene. His arcane art is also listed transmutation. The same blue light must have been what my driver saw. I thought Rudolph didn't witness crime at all. If I had to guess, he must have seen the blue light from the carriage. He must have made that detail all part of his testimony earlier. That actually makes a lot of sense now that you think about it. He was so sure he saw blue light. It'd be strange if he was lying about that. But anyways, what spell did you use to illuminate the crime scene? It was Conjure Light. For the duration of the spell, a mote of magical light appears in the caster's hand, the color chosen by the caster, and can be changed at will for the spell's duration. This mode of light provides illumination up to 15 feet of the caster, and no further. So that 15 feet is going to be very important. Your Honor, if the witness used magic at the scene, then I'd like a spell compendium to be added to the court record. I see no reason to invade the witness's privacy over a trivial illumination. I agree, the defense would need a stronger reason to requisition the spell compendium. Right you are, Your Honor. Your wisdom is truly fitting of your station. Oh, shut up. I use Conjure Light. to illuminate the scene. From there, I clearly saw the crime unfold. Casting a spell seems like a pretty significant spell to forget. For you, maybe, but for a practiced mage, the spell is as natural as moving my arm. You admit you wouldn't know what it's like to be a mage. I saw defense stabbing poor man twice with their sword. I assume you're gonna say that she stabbed him from opposite sides this time? Of course. Mind you, I have no idea why she acted like that. But can you prove she didn't do exactly like I described? I suppose not, at least not yet, anyways. Pierce is definitely the true murderer here, which means there has to be a lie in this testimony. He keeps saying he's to the entrance. If he killed my father, that would have been further in. The only way he can prove he is further inside the building. The map. Here we are. So if the witness was here, it says this is 5 feet. And the spell is 15 feet, so even if we're generous, that would be 3 cubes. And as you can see, the victim here is significantly further than 3 cubes. No. That one, map. Objection! Lord Pierce, you said you illuminated the scene from the tavern entrance, correct? And you only took a single step in the building. Of course. I remember very clearly. I stood only at the entrance. In that case, I'd like for you to take a look at the map of the tavern. If we look at this map, that would place you right here where the W is, am I correct? Of course I was. I do not know what you should achieve. I have me repeat that. Well, I find it interesting you illuminated the crime scene from all the way back there, considering the conjured light only illuminates an area within 15 feet. What? That spell's range is irrelevant. We've already established the victim would have been illuminated by Mageblade. During his testimony, he clearly stated he couldn't see what's happening. That's why he cast Conjure Light in the first place, remember? However, Conjure Light doesn't work like a normal source of light. It only provides illumination up to 15 feet of the caster and no further. If he had stayed at the entrance, it wouldn't have done anything to help illuminate the scene. What does this mean? Oh, Pierce, did you illuminate crime scene or not? I can't answer that question for you, Honor. He did illuminate the scene of the crime, because he was standing where it happened. Mr. Cuthbert, are you trying to say that Lord Pierce was close to where the murder occurred? How's that possible? Well, there's only one scenario that would make sense, Your Honor. That would be if Garrick Pierce himself was the one who murdered Finart McCoy. Oh, hold on for a moment, that's absurd. I could have easily used a different spell to illuminate the room. And which spell would that be, Pierce? The name escapes me. I'm not sure which one is now that I think about it. You idiot. Well, maybe we can figure it out together, when you relinquish your spell compendium to the court. What? This is a clear violation of my privacy. Steelwind, why aren't you objecting to this? If you had listened to my instructions, you wouldn't be in this situation. You've made your bed, now lie in it. Steelwind, you treacherous... That is enough. It appears the prosecution has no objections. With everything that's occurred, I must ask Lord Pierce to surrender his spell compendium to the court. Has been added to your notes. Prestidigitation, Conjure Light, Conjure Water, Frost Wave, and Shape Liquid. Prestidigitation is one that I was highly advised to go with, since for my first tabletop session I decided to go with a magic user, and I was told it might be one of the most important spells in the game. It has indeed been getting quite a bit of use, actually. Dang, they weren't kidding. Prestidigitation. A caster performs a simple and harmless visual effect in their hand. The effect lasts for as long as they maintain concentration. The tabletop system I was using has it a bit more complex than that. It's a bit vague on what it can do, but it can create simple objects, although artificial ones, so I can't make a sword and use it, for example. It can clean or dirty items, it can make things hot or cold, although not to extreme temperatures. Conjure Water. Causes water to flow out of the caster's hand. It'll flow so long as they maintain concentration. Frost Wave. Anyone caught within cold air. Liquids will be immediately frozen. Organic life will enter stages of hypothermia. Shape Liquid. While concentrating on the spell, the caster can magically manipulate up to 10 liters of liquid and form into complex shapes. At any time, the caster can choose to freeze the liquid and solidify it. When frozen, the caster can also choose to make a liquid instantaneously melt. That's one I'm gonna have to look at, actually, since I brought up the... Anyway, this seems like this is actually our murder weapon. He likely conjured up a sword with it. And that melting is what caused the, Good job, Tyrion. Yeah, notice all that... That's traces of magic around there. That's almost like a puddle. And if that's so, if he was stabbed with an ice weapon, it would have melted. Actually, if you look even closer, like on where the bottle is, well, it could have been. Actually, I think that was from the bottle. So yeah, that's I was getting too overeager. We got a spell compendium. Well, with that, this case is as good as yours. With ours, or is it? She didn't even try to stop you from taking a spell compendium. She wouldn't let that happen just to spite him. She definitely still has something up her sleeve. Your Honor, I've looked at the spells in the Lord Pierce's compendium. Conjure Light is the only one which can shed a blue light. This renders testimony and many of his statements false. You can practically hear him grinding his teeth. Your Honor, Lord Pierce could very well be a suspect in the murder of Flintheart Price. The defense argues that this presents enough reasonable doubt to acquit the defendant. I acknowledge that Lord Pierce's actions are quite suspect. However, I will not pass a verdict. There's much more we need to learn. But that's not how it works. You prove the reasonable doubt. Should be enough to acquit me, right? In a normal case, maybe, but it's different for this trial. The public won't allow an unresolved homicide with magic. Yeah, it was even directly said to us by Pierce himself, unless we can unequivocally prove innocence, the court will draw out the case. It's not fair. That's how the system works. Our court doesn't exact justice. It exists so the kingdom can save face. However, the court will be suspending the trial of Celeste McCoy until further notice. That is, until Lord Pierce can be investigated as a possible suspect.
Objection!
A possible suspect? The very idea is preposterous, Your Honor. You knew she was playing something. Let's revisit the basic facts of the case, can't we? Flintheart was murdered using a blade with transmutation. Mr. Cuthbert, why don't you tell me the spells Lord Pierce knows? Prestidigitation, Conjure Light, Conjure Water, Frost Wave, and Shape Liquid. He's very clearly a water/ice mage of sorts. Such an insult to the one I play. You've realized it too, haven't you? He doesn't know any transmutation spells that can be channeled through a strange object. It can't be the Conjure Water because that's conjuration. It can't be Prestidigitation, that's evocation. So it has to be Frost Wave or Shape Liquid. There's no proof of him freezing, so yeah, Shape Liquid to freeze into a sword to use would be ideal then. And then it would melt afterward. That can't be right. You're right, you're absolutely right, Lady Steelwind. I couldn't have possibly committed the murder. See, well, with that in mind, that would still leave the defendant as the only possible killer. He was the only other mage there. He has to be the real killer. But he doesn't know any transmutation spells that can affect a solid object. We can't prove he stabbed him while casting magic. Wait a minute. How'd he do it then? She's right, how did he do it? There are traces around the wound, and Flintheart was definitely stabbed with something magical, but none of his can affect Steel Blade. Does that mean he used something else? The defendant did cast some doubt on the witness's testimony. Nevertheless, I must conclude that he could not have possibly committed the murder. With that in mind, please wait, Your Honor. We can still conclude he can't conclude he didn't commit the crime. What are you on about? Lady Steelwind said it yourself, you commoner. I don't know any spells that could be channeled through a metal blade. He's right, which can only mean one thing. That means you didn't use a metal blade, did you? He's scared. What nonsense is this? The autopsy report clearly says it was created by a blade. If he didn't channel magic to a blade, how could he have committed the crime? Yes, your claim seems quite contrary to the facts thus far, Mr. Cuthbert. Which spell did he use to commit murder? What spell could he have used to kill the victim? Shape Liquid. You see, Your Honor, he didn't kill the victim using a sword. He killed him using an object shaped exactly like a sword. What? I'm afraid I don't quite understand, Mr. Cuthbert. I'd like for the court to take a look at Lord Pierce's spell compendium. He knows a seemingly insignificant spell known as Shape Liquid. With it, he can control a body of water and shape it into any complex shape he wants. He can then freeze that liquid, meaning its current shape. A shape like a sword. What? No. Is it possible that he... What do you have to say for yourself, Lord Pierce? Lord Pierce? What do I have to say? His breathing's more frantic. He's clearly not used to being cornered like this. You can see his stress and frustration emanating through the eye of Horus. You have him now. It's time for the finishing blow. Argument. I'll tell you exactly what I have to say, you commoner. I'm not the one on trial here. We're here because that bastard child didn't know her place. She's a peasant, yet she still learned the arcane arts. And look what happened. I saw the murder. I witnessed everything. That girl used our holy arts to murder her father in a fit of rage. And how, pray tell, did you see everything? If you recall, you testified that you only took a single step in the inn. But you would have needed to be within 15 feet to see my client with conjure light. This again. I can't keep trying on one detail. I admit I stepped further in. I kept that detail out because I knew you'd use to cast suspicion on me. Lord Pierce. But you didn't just keep that detail from your testimony, did you? You testified the opposite. That makes you guilty of committing perjury. No, I mean... You miserable wretch. Perjury. He has openly admitted to committing perjury. His lies have not gone unnoticed. And let's not stop there. For your story to be true, you'd have needed to be within 15 feet of my client. According to your testimony, my client just finished committing murder. Would she not have noticed you? If you were that close, you would surely have been close enough to apprehend her. Why didn't you? Don't you have a duty to your citizens? Shut your dirty peasant mouth. That woman's armed. I have no reason to put my life in danger. She's wielding her sword after the murder. I was terrified of her blowing the sword. My life was in danger. The crime scene photo says otherwise. But that can't be right, can it, Lord Pierce? This photo of the crime scene shows the sword was left in the victim's body. How could she be wielding her sword if she left it in there? What? Damn you, damn you! Steelwind, why aren't you saying anything? What? She's lost her usual air of confidence. You find it strange, though. Even when you had the advantage, she always maintained her poise. Lord Pierce, put yourself together. How can I remain calm with the charlatans trying to frame me? This is a complete travesty of our justice system. I came here to reveal the truth and testify against that criminal. What, I get slander from a lowly defense attorney? You talk about justice, but you've committed several acts of perjury to twist the outcome of this trial. You're clearly not acting in good faith. You don't care about justice. You want to further your own agenda. So admit it, Pierce. You created a makeshift sword with shape liquid and used it to impale Linhart. You shoved my client's sword in the wound while the remnants of the real murder weapon evaporated. It was the perfect crime, wasn't it? Ha ha ha. Ha ha. Lord Pierce? My apologies, Your Honor. It's just I realized something absolutely hilarious. What? Has he finally lost his mind? The defense put forward an interesting theory, but there's one problem with it. And what is that? I think you said it yourself. You shoved Celeste's sword in the wound while the remnants of the real murder evaporated. That was a perfect crime, wasn't it? You see, it would have been a perfect crime, because any evidence to support that theory would have evaporated with that frozen blade. What? No. He's right, if he used an ice blade, it would have evaporated by now. There'd be nothing left of the murder weapon. You spun quite the tale here today, but in the end, you don't have a shred of evidence to support it, do you? You have nothing on me. Isn't there anything we can do? You become quiet. Tyrion, why does it say anything? Is it really hopeless? All it takes is one look at the expression on your face. Any worry she had instantly disappeared because you realized the expression on your face is the same made every time you defeated her. What's this? You can glare at me all you want, won't change the fact you've lost. I despise people like you. What? You twist the system to serve your own ends, you trample on the lives of innocent people. But as long as I'm here, I'll never let that happen again. Oh, empowered eye. What did I just do? Your head feels like it's about to burst, the pain's unbearable and overwhelming, but at the same time you feel an extreme sense of clarity. As if you could see more than you could before. I can't believe this peasant's pushed me this far. Once again, you see his thoughts through the eye of Horus, but the sensation is different from how usually. It's more intense and potent. It's almost as if you can read more than just surface thoughts. And you've activated the empowered eye. With it, you can do much more than see the witness's thoughts. You'll also be able to affect what they think about, project items to evoke thoughts for him. You want to project items that make him think about the murder. Evoking the right thoughts will raise your insight. Once the insight gauge is filled, you have everything you need to implicate him. After the trouble I went to, I can't believe the lawyer figured out the spell I used. Well, no matter. It's not as if there's any evidence to prove I used it. I'm lucky that old fool had a body of water with him. Water from a bottle. Wait, a bottle. Well, as riveting as it's been, it's time for me to take my leave. Now, wait a minute, Pierce. What is it now, you wretch? It's as many times as you need to hear. There's no evidence of a liquefied weapon at the scene of the crime. No, that's not right. He said that he used a bottle to commit the murder. If you're just correct, the bottle's the evidence you need. Ah. I was wondering if the shattered bottle because there was water there. You're right, Pierce. If you did use shape liquid on the ball of water, the murder weapon would have evaporated entirely. Ah, seems you finally cut through your thick head. Bravo. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Pierce. What if you didn't use shape liquid on a body of water? What if it was another type of liquid? What are you going on about? Pierce, shape liquid doesn't just work on water. It works on all kinds of liquids. That shattered ball contained a liquid that you cast on your spell, wasn't it? Show him a picture of the bottle. Pierce, I found the shattered ball on the ground near the victim's body. I wonder what caused it to shatter. You must have decided to use any liquid you could find. Lucky for you, the victim was holding the perfect quantity of liquid right in his hands. I wonder, Lord Pierce, if we had someone analyze the broken piece of this bottle, would we find traces of transmutation magic? You little... That still proves nothing. So if there's traces of magic on the shattered bottle, you still don't have a murder weapon. I wasn't finished, Pierce. What? You see, the liquid contained in the bottle wasn't water, it's soda. So what difference does that make? A blade of ice made out of water will evaporate entirely, but a blade made out of soda would leave a puddle of dried residue. That's right, because soda isn't just made with the water, it's made with syrups and stuff. No, it can't be. I wonder why there was such a circular trace of magic under the body. If we check the outline of the trace, we'd probably find a dried puddle of soda residue. That would prove you used your magic on that soda. There's your murder weapon, Pierce. And that's checkmate. Bailiff, tell Orium to analyze the crime scene at once. We must determine if this puddle of soda residue exists. The time window to find the traces of magic is closing. So we had our team search the crime scene for the soda puzzle. I can't believe it, but we did find it. In fact, the outline of the dried soda lines up exactly with the outline trace of transmutation magic. We checked out the broken bottle, too. There were traces of transmutation magic on it as well. There's no doubt about it. Someone used magic on that soda. I see. Thank you, Orium. Orium? Please escort Lord Pierce back to the stand. What do you have to say for yourself, Pierce? What do you think you've accomplished here today? Do you honestly think you can indict me? I'm an aristocrat from the highest echelons of our society. That fool of a man's insurgent. He was a threat to society, and I did my civic duty by removing him.
Objection!
Bailiff, please escort the witness to a holding cell. Steelwind? First-degree murder is punishable by execution, Lord Pierce. I suggest you remain silent lest you incriminate yourself further. What? You can't be serious. Shut your insidious mouth. Well, what are you waiting for? Take him away. Yes, take him away at once. And no matter how rich and powerful you are, openly admitting to murder to the entire group. Well, it doesn't seem like there's quite enough corruption for that, at least. I can't believe it, we actually won. Tyrion, I am happy and sad. It's all she can do to hold back her tears. You don't need to say anything, your face says it all. Thank you. You've once more exceeded my expectations today. Miss Tamora, I'll be honest, when I realized the murder weapon evaporated, I thought the case was shot. I can't believe we were able to turn that around. Ah, it was just luck. If he had used water, we'd have been done for. Oh, it had nothing to do with luck. You were able to deduce which liquid he used, and you did it just by looking at a few shards of broken glass. Your skills of deduction never cease to amaze me. Well, that's not exactly true, but with Celeste there, you can't tell her about your new ability. You're all quite lively. There's no need for such hostility, though I wouldn't expect any less from the Hound of the Eye Taker. Wait, what did she mean by that? You glance at her, but when she meets her gaze, she immediately looks away. Looks like she's almost focusing, as if to protect herself from a certain eye. I must admit, I was hoping to test my blade against you directly, however your protege proved to be a worthy adversary. Thank you. It's some kind of game to you. Talk about trials as if there's some sort of competition. Your action almost condemned an innocent woman to death. Yeah, our system operates by having two powers of opposition. When those are balanced, justice prevails. Make no mistake, your victory today was just our system working as intended. Ha! Working as intended. You know very well our system only exists to protect your people. I know. Wait, what? In any case, looks like we'll be facing each other more frequently in the future. I look forward to doing battle with you again, Tyrion Cuthbert. Oh, what a strange girl. Well, that kind of killed the mood, didn't it? Oh, not at all. I think we should celebrate. Oh, what did you have in mind? There's this amazing restaurant in the upper quarter of the capital city. They usually only serve nobles, but they'll let anyone in if they have enough gold. Wait, do we have enough gold? Of course we do. Don't worry about the details. I'll handle everything. Wait, just how much money does she make? And so I began my journey into the world of law and magic. Our justice system is rotten to its core, and I'll have many trials ahead. Regardless, I'll keep on fighting and get justice for every one of my clients. Episode end. Nice. Just this feeling, I knew it. His radiant soul has finally awakened. I can't believe it. I've been waiting for so long. I can't wait for the day when I can see his eyes draped in agony. Uh, would you please, repeat that? I think, I might have misheard you there. Oh, it's sending me back to the title. Alright, so that explains it. Alright, I've been going about 2.5 hours. I got a bit of a late start today, so this might be a good one to end on, so let's, hold on. Alright, looks like not too many. I've got a decent amount of people here, so I should raid someone here. The ones I normally do are here, but it looks like someone's doing a first playthrough of Great Ace Attorney, so I guess I can go ahead and raid them. Let's see here, Bliss Abyss. Alright, sounds good. Alright. Well, give them lots of love, and otherwise, until next time, thank you for watching, hope you had a good time, and I'll see you later.